all my audio mute myself. What? I looked at it all and it was all unset. Well, anyways, here we are. Hi. I'm not doing my whole elaborate speech again. You'll get that tomorrow, but I'm Rushy and this is Black One. Black One can say hi again.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
I swear I have a love-hate relationship with OBS lately. It's like OBS just is out to get me. So,
oh my god. I feel you. I feel you.
Just a little silly. But hello and welcome to a wonderful Alpha X event here on Africa TV. We've got ourselves a fun little day put together for our Alpha Pro Series Ultimate Showdown between NA and EU. If you've never been a part of this event before, welcome. You guys are in for a real treat here. But we've got ourselves a pretty nice prize pool where we'll be seeing 4 of America's finest teaming up against 4 of Europe's finest. And of course, naturally, you've got yourself a US caster. You've got yourself an EU caster. I mean, Black One, I imagine you're probably going to cheer for the Americans, right?
Of course.
Oh, well, you know, I suppose I have to say North Americans because up until today, we did have 4 U.S. Citizens, but we are going to spread that out a little bit, and we've got ourselves a Canadian playing as well. So very excited to see that. Let's talk a little bit about the matchup format, though, for this event. We've invited 8 players, again, 4 from the North American region and 4 from the European region to compete. We're going to have a bunch of best of 3 matches here across 2 groups. Today's going to be Group A. We'll talk about those players in just a moment. Much like GSL, the top 2 players from each group will advance, and we will have a single elimination playoff bracket where we'll be playing best of 5s and a best of 7 finals. Our players are going to be competing for a pretty nice prize pool. It's going to be a $200 prize pool for first place, $100 for second place, and if you can make it to the playoffs, you're walking away with at least $50. So pretty good stuff here. Let's talk a little bit about Group A today, where we're going to be seeing Disc, Clem, Silky, and Sort of. We're going to see all 3 races represented today. We're going to be starting with Disc and Clem. Black One, talk to us a little bit about the French Terran player. I mean, he's kind of doing, or wait, excuse me. We are going out of order. That's weird. All right. We're going to be talking about Disc and Sort of. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about Disc, our Protoss player?
Well, Disc is a Canadian. He's a Protoss player. He did beat Silky lately, and he did make it quite far in the DreamHack Masters, as far as I can tell. His opponent is not to be underestimated, and I think he will go into this rather aggressively because he most likely is the underdog in this matchup.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with you in that sentiment. Sort of has been playing really well. Of course, he's had a lot of that time in Korea. He is back in Europe right now. I think COVID-19 sent a lot of the foreign players living in Korea back home. So he's been playing from the EU region, but still finding a lot of really good success in the ESL Cups, in the DreamHack tournaments, making a little bit of distance. So I think Disc has got his work cut out for him here as we get set up into game number 1. We're going to be going to Golden Wall. I keep forgetting this is a map that exists, Black One.
Don't tell me. I've been playing so many cups lately, and I always miss out on this map. Every time you go to Vetoes and you're like, okay, which maps are there? Okay, I really don't like Death Aura, that map. And then you're like, okay, which map is left? We banned 4 already. Which one is left?
Well, you know, we're going to get to talk a little bit more about this map here, but let's go ahead and introduce our players. Spawning in the bottom right of the map here is our blue Zerg player playing for Cosmos Esports. Give it up for Sort of.
And spawning on the left side of Golden Wall, it is the red Protoss player He is Disc. Of course, he is representing Root Gaming, a clan most of the viewers should be familiar with.
Well, I mean, if they're not familiar by now, I would say it's definitely on them at this point because Root Gaming just has so much presence in the scene and so much going on as well. Of course, they help No Regret fund the Foreigner House in Korea, but also just being a long-lasting organization in StarCraft 2. I can't remember. I assume Root has ties to other esports as well. Do you know?
Yeah, it has really deep roots.
I see what we did there.
Actually, I'm not quite sure. I didn't follow Root as a big organization that much. All I remembered was when they picked Hero, back then CJ Enter's Hero, when he joined the team. When, of course, Cats is always a big figure in the StarCraft esport scene, and Disc one of them as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing him perform good, because Root is just such an amazing team.
Well, and I really like what Cosmos Esports has been bringing to the scene as well. I think I don't know if I would call them new to the scene. I know that they're definitely new in my mind, but have made a lot of waves in the last 6 months, picking up and helping out players. I think at one point Solar was on their roster, if he isn't still currently. I know Special spent a little bit of time before he ended up landing with Team Exxon, so definitely a selfless team trying to do their part for the scene, but more than likely, we're probably going to see more of them as they are continuing to support players like Sort of. But I think this is probably a good time for us to pivot back into the game, because we do have a little bit of a path wandering down here. It looks like Disc has decided to open into a Twilight Council and throws down the Dark Shrine. So we are going to see, maybe not dedicated cheese, but we are going to see some aggression out of the Protoss player here in the first game.
Okay, so for Sort of, this is amazing. Sort of is a super solid player when it comes to defending. He is probably really, he's also really confident when it comes to those scrappy situations. When you turn into his stream and you see his base on Eternal Empire being way on the left, somewhere where there's not a main base, and his opponent's player, the base being scattered all over the map, and you're like, okay, this is just another Sort of match. And for this one, I'm just really happy we don't see Adept. I really like Dark Templars in any matchup, and if he hits a good timing, he might get some damage out. The Spore Crawlers are already finishing up. Lings are on the way as well, so is the Layer. So Overseers will be there to catch Dark Templars that are trying to hide in the corners of the bases. We have Roaches as well to defend against the Archons, and that will most likely be the follow-up. And now the Zerglings are already greeting those Shadowmans.
Well, and they get a good surround here. It does pull all of the workers off of the mineral line here. It's going to take a little bit of damage that way, but there is no detection here in the main base right now. Only now a Spore Crawler is going to jump up here and help out with that. More Templar being warped in, but the Roaches jump out, and that is going to shut all of this down. So right now we are in a place where Sort of is going to be able to stabilize here. The wall's not going to be able to close down just yet. He somehow closes it off with that Adept. So only 3 Lings going to get into the main base of Disc. Disc should be able to mitigate most of that damage. Only 2 workers get lost. But in a straight up trade, I mean, not a bad place for Disc to play from, but I know that he was probably looking for so much more.
I agree. Like, killing that Spore Crawler was amazing. He got so much damage in just because he killed it, but he also lost all his Dark Templar on that play. And losing those Dark Templar is first of all super expensive, and second of all, you will have to remake them if you want to keep pressure on the Zerg player. How are you going to harass the Zerg with a War Prism and Stalkers? What's the point?
Well, Disc is just going to rotate here into a standard sort of play here. He's got the double Archon. Going to just be annoying, kind of harass, keep tabs on all of the different bases. Sort of able to get across the map and see that third base is on the way, but it's a rather late third base. Just now going to be finishing around the 7-minute mark. So sort of gets an indication that Disc was kind of hoping to do a lot more damage with that initial push, and it was unable to get all of that done and taken care of. So the lair is allowed to stand, really doesn't lose a whole lot on the backside of this, and sort of able to transition into more of a mid-game composition, dropping down that Baneling Nest, picking up some more roaches, and getting himself ready for a big push here, because I think he's going to have a lot of things in his favor. I mean, look at that army count, 54 to 37, and Disc needs to spend a lot of his resources still pumping out probes.
Well, if Disc manages to get his Warp Prism into a good position for the main base, warp in some Zealots or something, and snipe that layer, because the layer is quite low, that could be a really good move to bring him back into this game. As of right now, he is just trying to hold sort of back in his base to get the gateway count up, to get Immortals out. He's now transitioning into Colossi, which is an interesting move. He already got Blink, and +1 is about to finish as well. So we are going to see some parting-esque playstyle out of Disc.
Oh, and are we even surprised by that at this point? I mean, so much of Parting success has just arrived lately with his consistently exciting and off-kilter play. So much like the Zerg players of Europe adapting to Serral and Raynor's play, so too will the Protoss yield to Parting's power. We see more robotics facilities going down here. It's going to be double Colossi coming out at this point. I think there was a very interesting thing to note from the engagement in the main base. Disc sending over 2 hallucinated Phoenix. I'm wondering if Disc was trying to send sort of the wrong message, saying, hey, I'm investing in Sky Toss. I want you to get nervous and start pumping out more of those Hydras, instead of focusing on that Ling Bane Roach army. But no dice at this point. It's going to be Ling Bane, which is going to deal really good damage against those sentries, against the eventual High Templar, I assume. But we see that commitment into Colossi as Extended Thermal Lance comes down. And I think both players are going to be ready for an engagement here, sort of just about maxed out. I think he's ready to go.
Yeah, and that Baneling Roach Ravager composition by sort of is a composition that wants to be in the Protoss player's face. He did not hit him.
I think that was like the moment in all the karate movies where you see the student try to hit the teacher, but the teacher's just like, except like this did nothing. But this is a pretty big engagement here in the main. The Warp Prism does get in and drops a whole lot of Zealots. It does get picked off, but there's so much here, so many Zealots, so many Archons. It's going to force that army all the way back. I don't think economically this did much, if any, damage, but it does pull sort of out of position and buys Disc just a little bit more time to get that Extended Thermal Lance all the way put together and begin his +2 weapons upgrade.
Okay, so 2 things that caught my attention. First thing, sort of delaying that +2 attack upgrade for Disc is actually amazing. That +2 attack upgrade would have been close to finishing by now. Thanks to his contamination by the Overseer, it is not even halfway through. Secondly, I really want to point out that none of those players decided to take the gold base by now, because both of them really rely on that gas income. And if you look at the gold base, there's only one gas Vespine geyser.
We've got a bit of an interesting situation here. Looks like sort of trying to dodge Baneling roll-bys as much as he possibly can. He does successfully pull on the top base, his fourth base, but had to evacuate his natural for quite some time, almost losing them to a big flood of lings. And it's going to be yet another Baneling trade here. He's going to do it in multiple locations, though, trying to get Disc to blink in any possible way he can. But I think it's going to be the big bulk of the army here coming into the natural. Roach Ravager and Ling going to pour on in. It's going to force lots of units back home here. It is going to make the top base very vulnerable. Will he get that to connect? He will, and 20 probes go down as a result.
Oh my god, this was so beautifully played by Sort of. He did the magician thing. He showed Disc, hey, look over there at your fourth base, there's a run by. Oh, you better go defend it. Disc did defend it, no question about that. But it allowed Sort of to get in that great position between the third and the natural, and to get into the natural even and deal massive amounts of damage.
And Sort of is already on to the transition here. He's grabbing his hive tech. He has a spire that's just about complete. He forces a recall back at home. It was a huge Ling run by at the fourth base, and Sort of just refuses to give Disc any room to breathe. Just as soon as Disc feels comfortable to move out onto the center of the map, it's 16 to 20 Lings running across. It's 4 Banelings diving into a mineral line. Sort of is controlling the tempo of this game, and it completely shows. Look at the banks, Black One. Sort of playing with 2k worth of minerals, and Disc is just barely has anything in the coffers.
If there's anything that Sort of is missing right now, it's gas, because his gas count is rather low. You want to be way more up there if you want to remax really fast, and as of right now, the gas bank is getting higher, and Sort of is looking to get into that fourth base location once again. Now he has... Does he have +2 attack? Yeah, he does. So those probes will get one-shotted by Banelings, which hurts every Protoss economy.
Yeah, and the supply counts right now don't do enough justice to what Sort of has been able to accomplish. You take a look at the income advantage, and Sort of, I mean, has just dominated this for about the last 5 to 10 minutes, and army count wise, I mean, he's been pretty much ahead for most of the game, just doing a really nice job of mitigating any damage that Disc can come across the map and do. And it looks like now Disc finally in a position where he's going to be able to try and move out, but immediately, like clockwork, Sort of already sending these Banelings up towards the top, and it pulls Disc's army entirely back here. Sort of doing a great job of continuing to maintain control.
Yeah, this didn't really build those static defenses, or they were killed earlier. So all those run-bys really just get in and deal damage. On the other hand, we don't see +3 attack upgrades for Disc. He's only at +2 attack upgrades, no armor upgrades, and Sort of is just going ham with those upgrades. He's getting +3 attack on missiles, on melee. He's getting everything right now, and Brood Lords as well, which will do quite good.
Well, it feels like he's just playing with his food, right? He just keeps sending in tiny forces that deal a little bit of damage, but nothing that really is going to close everything out. But this looks a little bit more scary. There are High Templar here. They are full of energy, and they are ready to storm, but Banelings get on top and actually pick off 2 of them and damage the other set. More drones, or more probes going down. 17 workers. How many workers has he lost? He's lost 55 workers in this game to Sort of's 7. Once again, just continuing to get up to that tier 3 technology. We've got Broodlords out on the map. There's more Corruptors on the way. Corruptors are going to trade so well against those Colossus, and we're starting to see a position where Disc is just going to be outclassed. He doesn't have the units he needs to deal with Sort of, and I think once he sees these Broodlords on the field, I think this is going to be a telling sign for Disc.
Well, this just started his +3 attack upgrade, and he really needs to make magic work right now. He has so many Broodlords against him, so many Banelings, Tasteless, and a bunch of Roaches as well. He does have a really convincing count of Archons, which is quite nice, but Archons need to get in range to deal damage, and Broodlords just have so much range.
Yeah, there's the zoning capabilities of Disc with against any other army composition would be fantastic. I mean, just right there, pops one Archon without even trying. He gets it for free. Any other army composition, and I think Disc has the zoning capacity that he needs. But in this specific case, this is going to be very difficult for him to do. He's got 18 workers down, but sort of taking down 14 of Disc's own as well. So continuing to even this count and sort of still up on that worker count at 65. Now, this is a bit of a rough situation here. These Corruptors do get caught a little bit out of focus, but where are the Banelings?
No, the army is splitting.
The Banelings is what we need to keep an eye on. If those Banelings can connect with the underbelly of those Disruptors and the Stalkers, that's going to be it for this game. So Disc will not be able to recover from that. Big blink forward here, and I think that's what sort of is looking for. One blink into the wrong location, and I think sort of is going to pounce.
Yeah, what sort of really needs to do right now is keep those Banelings and those Broodlords together, because as long as you have Banelings near your Broodlords, there's no way this can actually blink beneath your Broodlords. Something I want to mention though as a negative point here in sort of play is that he has not been spreading creep all too well. He has been really aggressive and in this space to keep him back, but he didn't use it to spread the creep, to get more vision, more map control.
That is an entire fourth base gone. 28 probes dead, all, and a Nexus, all to Adrenal 3/3 Lings. So that is a rough situation here for Disc. Disc going to lose out on that economic advantage here. 63 to 39 workers is never a position you want to play in, especially 18 minutes into game number 1. Keep in mind, this is our first game of the day. Ooh, okay, so these Banelings will probably get mitigated. Yeah, there's no base at the gold. Yeah, I mean, this is very, very interesting. This has been a game where sort of I feel like has completely dominated the tempo. He's dominated the map control. He has just never been brave enough to move across with enough army to shut things down. He's playing so patiently. He knows he's got the advantage. He's just going to take his time.
Okay, so I'm not too sure if this is what Disc should be looking for, because those Corruptors are going to shred through your carriers. On the other side, what else are you going to build? How are you going to challenge the range of the Broodlords, and how are you going to continue advancing in that tech tree? Well, Disc has decided to go for those carriers. He did get +1 attack as well, and if he continues to build upon his count and defends his bases well, he might just take it. But there is a hive that's going down. Oh my god!
I think that's actually gonna.
Oh, huge position!
This sort of is just caught completely out of focus here. I was gonna say I think he's gonna have to pull the trigger, but Disc has decided to jump in himself. Some huge storms get on top of all of these Broodlords. All the Broodlords are so battered and beaten, they just cannot deal with the harassment. They are gonna try and clean up as much of the ground army as they possibly can, but this is where the carriers are gonna be allowed to shine because there's nothing to deal with that. And in a brief moment, Disc goes from being on the edge to winning the game. GG.
Clip this. I have nothing else to say but clip this.
And you have to sit and think about what that actually entailed. All it was 2 DTs. two DTs get into the main base, and they cause enough havoc that it forces you to stop paying attention to your army, and that was all Disc needed to get on top of that. So I gotta say, very well played. That was well executed by Disc to jump in and take advantage in this series. I don't think either one of us could have imagined it going that way.
I mean, like, that was one of those things where I was like, yeah, that's dangerous, because he didn't get his creep out there. He didn't get the vision, he didn't get the mobility. Because if you have the vision, the creep at your opponent's base, you will just always see him coming, and it takes so long for the opponent, the Protoss player, to get into your face, to get to your Brood Lords.
I entirely agree with that sentiment. So we are going to get set up into game number 2, because this is an NA versus EU battle. We're going to be going back and forth between the servers. So we started on the European server, and we are now going to jump into the NA server. Next, it's going to be on Ice and Chrome. So, just a bit of a programming note as well. We know that we had Estrella on our initial lineup, and probably if you saw the graphic at the very beginning, that Estrella was going to be competing in this group. Unfortunately, Estrella had to back out last minute, so we have Disc playing in his place for the North American team, I should say, playing out of Canada. So easy. It's just everything's USA, right? Anytime Cyril's winning, USA, USA. If Rainer's winning, USA, USA. But guys, he's from Italy. USA, USA. Like
He's not Korean. USA, USA.
So no, all of his matches aren't canceled. He's just been replaced by Disc. So Disc is just representing his spot on the team. So doing his part to represent North America here. But very, very good stuff here. We are going to jump into game number 2. Folks, as we get in, take a look at the Matcherino at the top of the chat. All of these events are made possible by one of our great sponsors in Matcherino. So please do consider checking them out and helping us out with the coupon code for this prize pool. You know by now, Matcherino helps us pay our players, and we need your help to get it done. So if you click on that link, or copy and paste it, I guess, since we're at a Freakin' TV, check out APS US7, and you can contribute 50 cents to the pool for free. But if you really like these games, like if you want to see exactly how Disc dismantled sort of in game number 1, you can always check out that replay pack at the end of the event for just $5. So definitely give that some thought, but let's go ahead and introduce our players. It's spawning in the top right, 1 point away from moving on to the winner's match in Group A, is our blue Protoss player playing for Team Root. Give it up for Disc.
And spawning in the red, he's the Zerg player who is currently down 1-0. He has to bring it back. It is sort of. You know, we forgot someone really important who also is on Team Cosmos.
Yeah, I'm ready. Who?
Gemini. GG Gemini.
Oh, Gemini. How could we forget? How could we forget? Now, okay. Now I have a small gripe here that I need to air, because okay. I keep looking at the groups, and we should have 2 North Americans and 2 Europeans, but one of our North American players, Nina, also had to step out of the event, and I think she was replaced with a European.
Who was she?
I believe Euthermal is in her place. So maybe Euthermal is channeling his inner USA.
Wait. Okay. But Namsha is actually living in Canada right now, so he counts
really?
He counts as an A player.
Oh, okay, all right.
Man, Rashi, you have to keep up with that with that StarCraft gossip, man.
Oh man, that's my bad. I mean, at that point, then we need to be calling TLO because TLO's living in Canada now. So, all right, okay. See, that's why I keep you close, Black One, because you've got all of the gossip, you got all the tea. So, gotta keep
keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
I don't know how I felt about that, but let's take a look here. Disc opting to go into a little bit of a different path here, going into Stargate play. I think that's still a very common way to go in PvZ. Of course, as you mentioned in game number 1, we see a lot of the Resonating Glaive Adept timings, but there's just nothing like a good Oracle flying into a main base and obliterating 10 drones all at once.
I'm really curious what kind of Stargate play we are looking at, because sometimes you will just see a Phoenix after the first Oracle. Let's see what he decides to do. If he goes for 2 or 3 Oracles, we will definitely see a third base really fast. But there is that possibility of a Glaive Adept follow-up if he decides to go for a Phoenix afterwards.
Well, we'll have to see the Twilight Council go down, but this is very interesting here. He's going to take his 3rd and 4th gas, so I think this could potentially be a lot of Oracles coming out here. He's definitely going to grab the gas, but here comes the robotics facility as well. We could very well see that Twilight Council get thrown down as well, and have a Warp Prism pop out of there and just have a late timing, but sort of making this really difficult here. He did pick up speed or pneumatized carapace on his Overlord, so he's going to be able to scout all of this out, and he sees the path that Disc wants to walk, and right now he knows he's pretty safe, so he's going to drop those Spore Crawlers and just drone up.
Yeah, sort of should be rather confident in this position. I know I said that in the last game as well, but I did not expect him to not look at his Brood Lords and get storm showered.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's got to check the weather forecast if he's going to go out that far onto the map. You never want to be without your umbrella.
We see that Nexus coming down now and a Phoenix, so I'm really curious what Disc is going to surprise us with right here. We see Leia on the way for Sword Off, so the next tech transition is already in his mind. We will not see a one just circling or Roach all in. Roach Warren overall rather late as well, so will not be looking at anything aggressive coming out of Soda.
Well, and I think he was trying to get his opponent to blink just at least a little bit here. And I do need to turn down the audio just a tiny bit. I keep looking at the balance, and I see things are weird. So I'm gonna do that right now, chat. Thank you for hanging tight with me. I just don't want to make sure that we can all be heard. That's so much better. But I think he was trying to get his opponent to blink it just a little bit by throwing those adepts into the main of his 3rd. He did pick up, a handful of workers, 8 workers going down in the game total so far. But sort of not really taking the bait at this point. But a Twilight Council does come down. Is he going to circle back? No, he's going to grab charge and just get ready for the mid game.
Okay, I love the Spire. I really love the Spire. Which base are you going to choose as your 4th base on Ice and Chrome? Well, you will take the triangular expansion from your natural to the left. That's your 4th base, right? 3rd base, of course, in the line, but 4th base, you'll probably expand there because it's just so much easier to defend. Well, if you expand there, Mutas will just take you apart. They'll just pick you apart. They don't care. They don't care about high or low ground. They just fly above it. And I think that's what we will see out of Sword Off right here.
Well, the Oracle's going to come over and try and gather a little bit more information and see if he can confirm some of that. He is going to find those 2 queens at the front. and just tag them and be done with it for right now. Both players doing a nice job of getting that scouting information. Sort of, it does see the extra gateways coming down. He does see the Twilight Council and has to make some quick assumptions here as he is trying to get a look at the army composition. And really, there is no indication at this point. But as many times as you play against Protoss at this level, you have to assume that this is just going to be moving into that Archon Immortal Sentry charge lot composition army. That's pretty common at this point in the game. So it is going to be Corruptors. No mutas at this point. I guess he's expecting Colossus to be coming out.
Well, he has the infestation pit on the way already, and Hype will most likely follow soon. There it is. So Broodlords once again.
Well, I think he's going to get into Broodlords a little bit quicker and hopefully keep a hotkey on that Broodlord army. He doesn't want to just toss those away as Psystorm does come down. And I think we're just going to wind ourselves in, Black One, to yet another yet another standard PVZ.
Well, how standard is a macro PVZ really?
Fair. I said standard, not common.
Okay, Disc is trying to move out onto the map a little. He's clearing off some creep, which sort of should be looking forward to replacing as soon as possible. Last game, that was pretty much his downfall. He didn't have vision on his opponent's army. He didn't get that extra time to move his army around because the opponent was busy clearing creep. And this time around, he should really look forward to getting that creep spread out because it's so strong on Ice and Chrome as well. You get from one base to another in the late game scenario. You get there so fast if you get those creep highways, and Ice and Chrome is just really good for creep highways because you have two highways in the middle. Obviously.
We've got a bit of an engagement here shaping up. Sort of going to move across the map. I mean, he has got almost double the army supply here, provided he doesn't toss all of his banelings into overlords or bile his own units. Okay. I don't know what Sort of was looking at here. I think he was in a great position. He was going to set himself up, but didn't like the engagement. He had roaches on the top side here. I think really all he had to do was have his banelings not crash into 6 Archons, and I think he was going to be able to close this out and take it to a game 3, but didn't like what he saw. Going to be a Dark Shrine coming down here for Disc just to try and get some of those backstabs. But you're absolutely right, Black One, going into that Greater Spire. We will be seeing more of those Broodlords on the way and getting into that late game tech just a little bit quicker in this game.
Okay, he is denying the 5th base, but I really don't think he can do very much at the 4th base, but yet he gets in with all of his banelings and kills 13 probes.
Yeah, that was what he was looking for. He was patient, and his patience was rewarded. Grabbing 14 probes off of the back of that, trying to get as much done as possible. I mean, Disc knows that that large baneling composition is very defensible against Archons. So he's got some very good positioning here, and it's going to take a lot of these payback Banes to really get what he wants to do. Now, these Banelings didn't connect with nearly as much, only 3, but it's going to be Roaches at the 4th base that are going to try and deal a little bit of damage themselves, and that's going to take 10 more off of the top here, all the way up to 28 probes lost. But again, I mean, Sort of was here in game number 1, and he blinked and he lost. So he's doing all the right stuff, but is he going to be able to hang on?
Well, Disc is just really good at building that ultra strong army. He once again has a bunch of Archons. This time around, he does not have Blinkstalkers though, so those Broodlords might be even stronger than they were in the last game. Now there's a small engagement, but nothing really happening except Zerglings dying.
Well, the Zerglings are not going to be enough to deal with Archon and Zealot all by themselves. They need those Banelings. They need those heavier duty units. Broodlords will be nice, though. These Archons are just going to go all the way in on this 4th base. The 4th base will get canceled And honestly, it doesn't cost him a whole lot. He might lose like an Archon or two. The base here at the 5th base location does get canceled, at least for now. So, I mean, that's pretty okay damage. There's another base down here for Sort of. More than likely, we're going to see this base get remade, and it is being done right this second. But Sort of is still in an okay place economically. I don't know if Disc got everything he's looking for. However, I mean, the unit loss tab shows a bit of a lead here for Disc.
Yeah, Disc has to be careful with this 4th base because Banelings keep on running in from that 5th base position. Sort of has been really good at just picking Disc apart. This defenses have not looked too well. He lost probes very often, but he did keep his army alive, and that's something really important if you're playing against Zerg, because he now has a really high value army with those Archons, with those High Templar, if they are with the army and not running around on their own. And sort of, as of right now, he's trying to get that Broodlord count up, but other than that, he has Banelings and Roaches.
And this is kind of the folly that we talked about here in game number 1, where the creep spread was a little bit lacking. It was doing okay here in the first 10 minutes of the game, but I think all of the creep is kind of stagnated. He has some active tumors. He could continue to push out, but right now, more focused on those the positioning of those run-bys, more focused on trying to anchor down many of those positions at this point. And that's giving Disc, I think, a pass into the late game portion of this series, where, I mean, one more clean play by Disc, and he's going to find himself moving into the winner's bracket.
Okay, something I want to point out as well is that sort of has the potential to put on a great siege onto one of Disc's army bases, but he does not have the creep to get to those positions where he could siege Disc. Now Disc is getting into a position where he can just roll over Sort of if Sort of is not paying attention. He has a lot of Storms, he has a lot of Blink Stalkers and a bunch of Archons, so those Storms will most likely be lethal if they hit all at once and the Broodlords don't walk away.
Yeah, I mean, this is the almost identical situation here. Now, there are infestors. This is a slightly different scenario here. So there will be fungal growth available to help anchor this army down, and that is going to make this a lot less potent here. A big blink forward, and this is what Sort of has been waiting for. His patience is going to be rewarded. He's going to pick out some of those Stalkers, and the Archons are not going to be able to join in on that fight so easily. So Sort of learning from game number 1 and adapting just a little bit here. He's going to send these Lings into the 5th base location, and I mean, this should get picked off pretty quick. Yeah. So this base is going to be under fire. I don't know that Disc has anything to shut this down. He's actually just going to recall to it, and I think that's a very expensive recall for 6 Zerglings, but it was absolutely a necessity.
He has to make sure that he gets up some static defense, maybe even some small walls with gateways, because those run-bys have really been picking him apart and been buying sort of a lot of time. His Broodlord count has been growing and growing, and now he's at 12. He also has 12 Hydralisks, which do great as support of those Broodlords, because as soon as your Stalkers blink in, the DPS of the Hydralisk is just going to shred Stalkers.
Sort of going to get caught out a little bit here. A lot of those expensive Ravagers are going to get all picked off. A bunch of Zerglings going to get fleshed out as well. I'm not sure if it almost feels like he's trying to bleed a little bit of his army supply as he does pick up 5 more Infestors. I think that was a little bit tactical, but just didn't get the amount done that he needed. Link's going to run into both the natural and the 6th base location to try and get a little bit more damage done, but DT Warpin is going to prevent that from getting any major damage taken care of. But on the backside of that, it's going to be 36 more lings. He's just going to wind up and throw at Disc once again.
At this point, before the big clash of armies happens, I want to take a brief moment and talk about how blessed we are to just have those two play macro matches against each other.
What?
In PvZ.
What? Are you saying that this doesn't normally happen? No.
Well, I don't want to blame any race, but
that was a big butt right there.
There have been a lot of all-ins on both sides, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Well, that Nexus did get picked off by one of those sides.
Yeah, but this is going to be yet another situation.
Big move in.
This is another situation where Disc was waiting to pounce, but it's going to be the Infestors with the Fungals that make this a little less easy for him to get on top of. The Broodlords are able to position, and those Fungal Growths just continue to zone this down. So many Stalkers falling at the mercy of those Broodlords. 21 go down, and a good handful of Archons as well. So sort of comes out way ahead here. He picks off a base, and he gets a good chunk of the army.
Okay, what I really want to see Disc do right now, I saw this once on Harstem's stream when Broodlord Infestor was still completely broken, and okay, not completely broken, but tiny bit too strong. What he used to do is, because it's so hard to actually get in range of those Broodlords, he would just pick up his High Templars with Warp Prisms and then Storm Drop on top of those Broodlords. And if he does that once again, we saw him win that way once already. If he does it again, I'm fairly sure he breaks this army, gets in between the rally points, and just messes up everything for Sort of. And right now, Sort of looks like he's going to mess up that static defense at the 6th base.
Yeah, I'm more worried about these DTs right now. That 6th base is dangerously low, and even 1 or 2 Dark Templar size will absolutely shut that down, but sort of able to get on top of that. He does have the vision to push that back and away, but that's going to be a lingering concern of Sort of's here. Again, 1 or 2 is all it's going to take, and that hatchery is going to topple. But we are seeing Disc transition into that late game composition. He's grabbing those carriers. In fact, it looks like 3 already on the field with 2 in production right now. But to your credit, it's going to be more assault on that 6th base location here. It's going to pull the army down to the bottom, but there's already another army lying in wait up on the north side here. Sort of going to channel his inner Terran and try and hit in as many places as possible. And I think this is going to get a decent amount of damage done.
Well, he does kill off a lot of static defense once again, and he is creating space to attack later on. What you don't immediately see in damage will stack on later, because Disc needs to rebuild those static defenses. If he doesn't do that, then Ling Run-Bys suddenly become a huge threat, and Sort of is already trying to pounce on that 4th base and the 6th base. Once again, the Lynx and Hydras are moving in, and this time around there is no recall.
Yeah, that recall is a little bit on the slow side here, but all of the main army does get up behind it. It comes at the cost of 14 workers, though. Disc is slowly starting to take damage here. It's death by 1,000 cuts at this point, sort of trying to deal lots of little damage, so that way his opponent just bleeds out over time, much to your analysis a little bit earlier, and sort of getting a little bit of damage in there, trying to sneak in as much as possible. That gap has definitely favored Sort of here over the last 5 to 6 minutes here, as he does slip ahead in the units lost tab.
And look at Disc's mineral bank. It's almost non-existent. All the minerals he had were just burned by those carriers. And if he decides to fight soon, there will be even more minerals burned. Now Sort of is trying to set up another run-by at the 7th base. And Disc really needs to be careful with his current army, because he cannot afford to lose any units.
Oh, and there's a huge run by of Hydras and Lings, and this has been such a perfect composition for Sort of. He's been getting so much backstab damage, 14 more workers going down. That Nexus is going to fall, and the main army unable to push here. There's a nice little line of Spore Crawlers, the Infestors, the Broodlords anchoring down the middle. Sort of has a much stronger response here in game number 2, and he's looking confident.
Well, Sort of did get into the spot where he is comfortable. He can just pick his opponent apart every time this moves out. He sends his Zerglings in, and with those static defenses set up by now for Sort of, it gets really hard to punish Sort of for big run-bys.
Now Disc is kind of left trying to figure out what he exactly can do. His carrier count is very, very scary here. He's already up to 9 carriers at this point. It looks like he's going to top out at 10, and that's where it's going to sit, at least for right now. Sort of needs to have some sort of response to help deal with that. He does have Corruptors. He's got a nice amount, 11. Those fungal growths are going to be great for dealing with the interceptors of those carriers and being able to lock that army down into position. But ultimately, Sort of needs to start working on the economy just a little bit more, because he just needs to kill one base. And this is going to be a big moment here. Banelings are going to connect here. 16 more workers going down. Disc down to 29 workers, and that's going to force him all the way in here. Big blink forward on top of the static defenses here, trying to get on top of those Broodlords. The Investors are able to lock this down. The Storms are going to
get connecting so well, and the carriers are still alive. Might they be able to take it?
I'm not entirely sure here. Sort of able to remax once again, but it's going to be a matter of whether or not that army can deal with the remainder of these carriers. I think he's going to have enough, though. He's got 21 Hydras in production. He's still got a lot of Corruptors that are slowly working away here, and the Interceptor count, it's just gone.
Oh my god, the last carriers are falling so much for that Golden Fleet. This is just in shambles right now. He has 62 supply to the 192 of Sort of. He had to make something work right there, and he did not quite accomplish that. His storms on top of those Broodlords were magnificent, but sadly, there was just not enough damage output to deal with the threat on the ground, which were the Hydras, and all of those Corruptors survived. How are you going to kill? How are your carriers supposed to survive if all of the Corruptors survive the previous engagement?
And unfortunately, it was not enough. GG is called, and Sort of evening up this series 1-1. And that means we're going to go back to Europe to see who's going to be moving on to the winners match here. And think about, in that last engagement, think how long it took Disc to get that army composition onto the field. I mean, those carriers have some of the longest build time of any unit in the entire game. And to lose all of them in the span of 30 seconds is just too much for him to deal with, and Sort of able to use that power of the Zerg Remax, getting into those Hydralisks and just closing out the game. So Sort of playing with a lot more confident play style. He was more prepared for the type of engagements that Disc wanted to take, and he puts himself in a position to be able to move on to the winners match. So it'll take our 3rd game to figure that out.
I'm already so excited. I am so excited. We've seen amazing games to this point, and now we are going on the macro map there is in that pool. If there is any map that you can just split the map on, it's Eternal Empire.
Yeah, I think this will be. I mean, it's definitely going to lead to more of the same kind of style that we've seen here in our previous games. So I would not be surprised to see us go into a 3rd long form macro, which I think is
sort of cute as a Terran.
Whoops. We'll be restarting this game. So as we get ready for game number 3, let's do a little sneak peek preview of our follow up. Don't mind that sound. Don't mind that sound. Just remaking the game. We had one player that queued up as the wrong race. We're gonna have our next game. It's gonna be Silky versus Clem. Talk to me a little bit about our European Terran. I mean, he's been doing okay lately. Just okay, right?
Yeah, like really nothing special, you know. Anybody can take down a Reina or a Sarah.
Yeah, well, whatever. Like, nah. And what? I'm sure he's probably been around for a while. So what is he? 26, 27 years old?
I heard he's 30.
Oh, okay, nice. Oh.
Man, Clem is just something else, really. He is so talented. He has the mechanics. He likes to take some gambles, and if they pay off, it just looks amazing. If they don't pay off, well, you get a little behind or you lose a game every now and then. But I feel like he is predestined to take over the foreign scene, even with Reina performing really good right now. I am looking forward to seeing a dominant foreign Terran. Since when didn't we have that?
I was gonna say.
When was the last? When was the last?
Well, thank goodness for the Terran patch here. I mean, we've been waiting for it forever, right? We've been waiting for it, and now we finally got it. So we'll enjoy Clem as long as Widow Mines continue to be as strong as they are. But no, I'm of course kidding. Clem is playing out of his stinking mind, and seeing how young of a player he is and how he will be able to continue growing and becoming a stronger force in the scene. I think we're going to see a lot out of the French Terran player for sure, but he's going to have a pretty decent setup against his opponent in Silky. I mean, Silky's been around for a bit of time here. I think spending a lot of time in Wings of Liberty and beyond playing. I think he used to actually be a competitive Halo player. So definitely been around the esports scene for quite a while. But Silky's I think both of them are gonna have their work cut out for him. I know Clem likes to play a pretty standard style. Silky sometimes likes to play aggressive. Of course, he's from North America. I mean, that's what we do over here. We queue up Zerg and we build a spawning pool as fast as the game will let us, and then we just have fun. So nothing to see there.
No Regret made it into GSL, right?
He made it into GSL twice, and he would be offended that you didn't know that. Of course, I'm kidding.
I'm not sure,
kidding,
but I
getting
think
advice.
I actually saw him live.
Did you
play?
Really?
Yeah, I think I went to the GSL studio when he was playing. He was sick on that night. I remember him wearing a mask and everything. Well,
social distancing before it was cool. Like, we always knew No Regret was a trendsetter. But let's go ahead and
okay, let's get Let's get this party started.
Let's do it. Let's introduce our players here. Spawning in the bottom left, our red Zerg, 1 win away from moving on to the winners match in Group A, playing for Cosmos Esports. Give it up for Sort of.
And representing Root Gaming, it is the Yellow Protoss player. He has been doing very well so far. He has been showing the world that macro games are indeed possible. It is Disc.
I love, like, okay, little programming. I love that, like, a year ago when Root Gaming took over the Foreigner House in Korea, they kind of revamped a little bit of their logo, and they added, like, the purple eyes. I think it used to be just, like, bright blue eyes, but there's just something about the purple with the brown that just, I don't know, it speaks to me. Like, there might not be a single other person in the world that noticed or cared, but I really liked it.
I didn't notice, but you're right. You're right.
I just think it looks nice.
They used to be blue, right?
I think so.
Well, I feel like I feel like violet is just way more friendly and warmer of a color than than that bright light yellow blue.
Yeah.
It
I
just
feel you
gives it just gives more sympathy, I feel like.
there.
Maybe that's the reason why you like it so much.
That could be. That could be. Now, here's something that's interesting. We've got a probe in the top left-hand corner of the map here. You were telling me this is a macro map. If he builds
It's
a
a
pylon
macro
here, is
proxy.
that? Oh, it's a macro. Oh, I see.
You never heard of that?
Well, see, okay, so now we do see a tech choice here for Disc. Disc gonna throw down that Stargate in the base, but
please.
here comes the proxy pylon. Are we gonna fake Stargate and then toss down a dark shrine? Like, I'm ready.
Please tell me he's getting a fleet beacon. Please. I want this NA experience once in my life. Give me the fleet beacon. He's waiting for the Stargate to finish.
I think you're right. I think
Come on,
there's a
fleet
chance.
beacon. Do
Okay,
it.
I'll
This.
zoom in again.
No! He
Unfortunately,
had the chance to be great.
we both played caster roulette, and I'm fortunately the winner this time around. It is going to be a Twilight Council going down, so more than likely we are going to see a Dark Shrine come down. But look at Sort of, he has already got an Overlord queued up. By the time that DT Shrine is showing, he has the potential to see it as long as this stays on path. So what is Sort of doing in the meantime? It looks like he's just droning up. I mean, he's grabbing spore crawlers. He sees that there is a Stargate, so he's going to be ready to go for that. But in fact, it's going to be Glaive Adepts.
Who would have guessed?
You
I mean,
said that you were really excited that they weren't playing Glaive Adepts, and I think Disc heard you through the ether.
He just had that special connection. He went, well, I already showed you 2 macro matches. Let's do a quick one.
Well, this is going to throw a big wrench into his plans because Disc has already thrown down 4 gateways on top.
Did he see it?
No.
Oh my god. Come
Excuse
on.
me?
Oh, come on.
I mean, we're talking literal pixels here. All right, well, this will be an interesting scenario here. We're going to have to see what Sort of can do with the information he's got. He doesn't get over far enough to scout the proxy. He is going to see a Nexus go down at about the 5-minute mark, so this isn't going to be any major indication that that Disc is going to get aggressive here. He's showing it a macro hand, so we're going to have to watch that Nexus carefully and see if that Nexus gets canceled at all. But these Zerglings are being so patient. They're trying to get more information. Sort of knows he's playing with incomplete information here, but it's going to be a matter of how fast he can figure it out.
Okay, he must have seen the color of the Adept attack by now, because one of those Zerglings did get killed, and he didn't see the Twilight Council in the main. He has to be expecting something by now. There is no Warp Prism, so no quick reinforcements. All this is looking for is to deal damage. His 3rd base is up, almost up. He has a decent worker count, he has a decent tech. Now he has to deal damage, and he's shading on top of those queens.
Oh, this is actually a very scary moment here for Disc. There's a lot of DPS in the Roaches that just immediately popped up, but he's able to clean all the queens right before he jumps away, and that's going to be the damage that he was looking for. He can at least slow down, if anything, the production cycles of his opponent, but he's going to be able to continue shading back and forth. Some great coverage by the Spine Crawlers will eliminate the damage done to the drones, so Disc is going to be forced to shade away, Sort of with a great hold here. He's going to clean up so many of these Adepts. Only one remains. What an outstanding hold by Sort of.
He only lost 3 drones. There were like 8, 9 Adepts, and they all shaded like 5 times, and only 3 drones died. Like, there's a lot of small nuances to the game, but not losing a ton of drones to an attack like this is just amazing and shows you what kind of a caliber sort of is.
Now, sort of's not out of this just yet. Fortunately for Disc let that third Nexus continue going, so he wasn't faking out into that. So he's able to transition economically. Disc not getting the damage done that he needs to, but he's able to warp in back at home. He's got plenty of force fields to zone and give himself a good advantage. So sort of's just going to have to lay back here. I mean, it's unfortunate to say, but sort of did the bare minimum just to continue playing in this game and keep himself alive. So he is going to get that fourth base. We do have Blink coming now from the Proxy Twilight Council. So it's just going to continue researching as much as it can and sort of just looking strong, but not out of the woods just yet.
Okay, sort of picking up that Spire once again. +1 melee and attack upgrades are on their way as well. This getting a nice scout off on how high the drone count is. He sees the fourth hatch, sees how many drones there are mining away on those mineral patches. And now he's trying to get some map presence with those adepts as well. Taking the watchtower is a great start. You get so much value out of those. You get to position your army way better. But wait a second, sort of supply. It's skyrocketing. How come?
Yeah, he morphed in a lot of these Ravagers, so the Ravagers carry a lot of value here, and it looks like he's got 3, 6, 8. So I mean that's 24 supply right there. Because the Roach is 2 supply, and the Ravagers add 1 more.
In addition to that, we have a ton of Zerglings and a bunch of Banelings finishing up now as well. Is he looking to get a timing in with that +1/+1?
I think he absolutely is. I mean, it's done now. So 2-1 is starting here. I think he's just trying. He needs to get an engagement here. There's a ton of force fields available, and I mean an absolute ton. So he is going to try and attack in 3 different locations at once because he just can't force field everywhere. But yeah, I think the wall over here is going to make that really complicated. We're going to have to see how this goes. The Banelings are going to try and position themselves in. First wave is just going to go and try and deal some damage, but he does get zoned off. Fortunately, not pushed back behind, so he is going to be able to save those and roll away. Yeah, I mean, Disc has done a good job with his SimCity to prevent Sort of from being able to bulldoze him here at the 10-minute mark.
Infestation Pit once again finishing up. We have +2 attack upgrade on the way for those Zerglings and Banelings, which is going to be huge for Sort of to get those pigs. Did he find it by now? He's still not seeing the Twilight Council, is he?
No, I don't think so. No.
Oh my god.
This is one of those he'll go back and look and he'll go, I was so close. Okay, so
what happened?
This is a good amount of damage here. Oh, some great contamination going down in the robotics facility is going to reduce the Colossus count here for at least a short amount of time. The collapsible rocks have been taken care of, so that is going to be another point that Disc has to try and protect, and I don't know if that's a full seal as it sits right now, so there's a potential for Lings and Banes to work their way in. We do have Charge on the way. There is Extended Thermal Lance as well, but Disc has done such a great job of holding this down. A fourth base trying to come in, and I think Sort of actually popped that. I don't think Disc had any time to cancel it. Yeah, this is just kind of an awkward situation. Here go the Banelings. The Banelings are going to get on top of quite a bit. I almost wondered if they would just sacrifice onto the building, and it's a little bit of what he's done. The Cyber Core is exposed, but I think he'd rather just run Lings in. Big Bile's going to go down on top of the Cyber. There's literally 8 hit points left.
Oh no! How can that thing not die? Okay, so a big point for Sort of is he is getting that Greater Spire transition in. He's already getting some Corruptors. He has the Hive done, and he is adding a lot of gases as well to support that unit composition. another great thing for him is he has been able to deny that fourth base for Disc so often. We have seen it being cancelled almost 5 times now? 4 times? Am I lying?
No, Disc has been unable to secure his fourth base, and that's about the biggest thing that sort of is doing right now, is he's just trying to bleed his opponent dry for as long as he possibly can. He's been holding down this left flank for quite a while, and it's forcing a lot of specific unit count out of Disc. I mean, he's super stalker heavy right now.
Okay, but I really like the timing for Disc right now. If he's not able to do it now, he won't be able to do it ever. Now is the timing before Adrenal Glands, before +3 attack, before the Brute Lords hit, and now is the timing he can push sort of back. But sort of once again pulling Disc back with a small run by. He's just poking in here, poking in there, making sure that Disc can never be sure if there isn't even more than he has to be afraid of.
This is going to be a little bit of an engagement here. Baneling's going to try and swing in on actually all sides here. To get on top of this army, there's going to be so much damage that could potentially go down, but more force fields get on top of everything, and these Banelings are all but mitigated. So much damage protected against, and sort of doesn't get the advancement that he wants, but he's got the production behind it, so he's just going to get more of those roaches, more Banelings coming in. This burnt off a lot of energy, though, for Disc, but Disc feels really confident here. He's going to shove forward. The fourth base is going to be rather exposed here, but he is deep on creep. He's got to be very careful. He's on the verge of getting surrounded.
I really like the decision by Disc to get that high ground, because off that high ground, he can just push downwards towards the fourth base. If he decides to engage on the low ground, he is running into a trap. Most likely, he will get surrounded as well, which is a big downside to the position he is in right now. He is able to get the fourth base now, finally, but he also has to be really careful. Sort of still has a lot of Banelings. With good force fields, he might be able to do it, but there are no force fields left, and all of those Banelings just crushed in, and the Corruptors will force out the rest of the Colossi, and now the Banelings are just rolling over everything, and GG is called.
Oh, some great force fields there in the end by Disc, but unable to stop the final wave as Ravager's able to get in on top of everything and shut Disc down. GG. What a series number 1.
It's insanity.
I am a little surprised that our first series went over an hour, but what wonderful games here. Long form macro showing that we can still do it. We can play macro games in the forum scene, and sort of is going to be able to move on to the winners match. That'll be taking place after our next matchup here between Silky and Clem. So more outstanding games going to be coming our way here very soon. Let's go ahead and take an opportunity to talk about some of our great sponsors. Of course, Matcherino helping us provide great coverage for our players and helping us fund a prize pool here. And we need your help to make all of this happen for these next 3 days, because we've got some outstanding games coming your way, and we want to make sure our players get everything they deserve. So feel free, check out that link in the top of the chat. APS US7 allows you to give a free 50-cent contribution to the prize pool. So if everybody jumped out there right now, that would be amazing help for us to help get these players paid. But we also have amazing sponsors in G Fuel as well. So we're going to run a quick ad here, and then we are going to take a short break while we get set up for our next series. So please do check out this ad here, stretch, get a little bit of water, and we'll be right back with our next series. It will be Silky versus Clem right here on play.africatv.com/alphaxsc2. My name is Rushy. This is Black One. We'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. My name is Rushy, and thanks for watching our StarCraft 2 content brought to you by Alpha X. Productions like this are made possible by support from our sponsors, like G Fuel. G Fuel is the official drink of esports, and they want to encourage you to kick the can on other energy drinks that leave you drained out and out of juice when you need to make the big calls. Their dedication to keeping you fueled and in the game is only matched by their drive to support esports and the people who help make it possible. With over 20 unique flavors like bubblegum to choose from, they'll always deliver a great experience with each drink. Head out to our Matcherino page and check out their sponsor quests for more info on how to get your hands on G Fuel's clean and healthy alternative to sugar-loaded energy drinks. G Fuel, the official drink of esports. Thanks for supporting Alpha X, and thank you for considering checking out our awesome sponsors. Now, let's head back to the action. That makes a lot of sense. I'm looking at my hotkeys and I didn't set them up correctly. Welcome back, everybody. We are gonna get ready here for our next series, and I'm gonna get Black One talking here while I get this set up. We're gonna be having a series between Clem and Silky. It's gonna be a ZVT. Winner's gonna move on to face Sort of. But let's talk a little bit more about this matchup. We did it just a little sneak peek, but it's gonna be ZVT. What's your thoughts on the meta right now, Black One, in Zerg versus Terran?
Okay, so I haven't seen too much of the late game part of this matchup. Like, usually games tend to end with 2-2 or mutas. But CVT is still in a great spot. It's a great matchup. You have a lot of different types of approaching this matchup. We've seen Innovation go for a lot of battle mech against Reyna. We've seen Special go for just solid mech, just go for those big beefy Thor units for battle cruisers and get it this way. And we've seen a lot of bio as well. From the Zerg point of view, we've seen Reyna go into that Lingbane Hydra type of composition lately, and we've seen oh my god, this is amazing. And we've seen them play Lingbane Muta as well. Depends on what your type of game play style is. If you're more the kind of guy who's like, okay, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to use some run-bys to get at my opponent to bring him out of his rhythm, then Hydra Baneling is the composition for you. If you're looking at something a little bit more aggressive, I want to be in his face all the time, at any time. Then you might just take that Muta Ling Baneling composition, but either way, those are great matchups.
And I think to your point as well, I think the map pool really is a good map pool for both sides of the aisle. I think Terran has a lot of fun maps. Of course, I think if Clem has his way, he'll probably see a little bit of Golden Wall. But also some of the newer maps as well make it really fun for Zerg players to experiment with their build orders. I mean, and I'll use the word experiment lightly here. I mean, we're talking about, wait, Hydra Ling Bane is a thing that we can do again? But the nerfs! So,
but the lurker.
Oh, I think I'm supposed to be on NA right now.
Yeah, you're supposed to be here.
Well, you can't make me.
But I can try.
Okay. Well,
hey,
I suppose I will play along. Apparently.
How does it feel being 4 leagues above Clem?
Oh, okay. Chat, I have to look at this. I have to show you this because you think this will think this is hilarious. Liquid Clem currently is rocking a bronze banner on his NA account. So I just had to show you that very quickly as to what we were laughing at. So just some good stuff here, a little bit of behind the scenes, but we are going to jump into game number 1 here. It's going to be on Eternal Empire. I think this will be an interesting map for both of our players. It does lean a little bit more in the Terran direction if I use my own insight, but I think we'll have some good games regardless. So thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out with us. You guys are checking Group A of the Alpha Pro Series Ultimate Showdown right here on playthatafricatv.com/AlphaXSC2. My name is Rushy. I'm accompanied by Black One. We're going to jump in to our first game of the series here. Spawning in the bottom left, our red Zerg player playing for Psystorm Gaming. Give it up for Silky.
And the blue Terran player. He is representing Team Liquid. He is the prodigy of all Terrans. He is Clem.
The best bronze that ever was.
Oh my god. This has to be the best thing ever. Like you see all the NA players coming over to the European server, and they all have those masters or grandmasters borders, and now there's Clem. He went over to NA and he became bronze.
Look, I mean, I would be willing to stand with Clem on this one and say that it's harder to maintain a bronze banner in StarCraft 2 than it is to get up to Masters.
I raise you the patch 1 or 2 seasons ago when everybody became bronze.
That's fair. That's fair. I had forgotten about those dark days. The dark days where we all thought we always think we're bad at StarCraft, but Blizzard took a time and said, yes, you are. You are all bronze now.
This is a new system. Deal with it. You are all just apes, peasants.
Peasants. That's the wrong game, though. That's the wrong game. You're thinking Warcraft if we're going to talk about peasants. But that's okay. That's okay. I still like you. So rather standard opening here from both of our players. We are going to see a Rax expand here out of Clem. Although, admittedly, he did get that expansion just a little on the tardy side, but nothing that's gonna be of notice here. But this is what I actually don't like about Eternal Empire, and as a Zerg player, I have this map banned, is the fact that this SCV can get so much damage done by blocking this third base. Because you might say that you could just go up to the top side, but it's this dark space back behind the natural and what would be that third location that makes it almost impossible for Zerg to take that third base. You can get one Liberator back in this dead airspace, and until you have an air unit, it can attack this mineral line. So that is a bit of a punishing scenario here. I thought Silky might go for a quick third expand on this map, but instead he just decides to double down. He's going to get more queens. He's going to invest into more of his economy here and try and march some units out to actually clear this third base. But I mean, that's rather behind.
Okay, so Clem already pulling out those plays. He knows exactly what he has to do in this matchup. He has been playing with the best of the best in the last couple of days, and he has been getting great practice in by doing so. And now he's just showing off, really. He blocked the third base, he killed the drone with his Reaper, he delayed it, he made the Zerg player commit to more queens earlier than he possibly want to. So Clem just in great shape right now. He's gearing up to get that Liberator you were talking about set up soon as well. And Stim is on the way too. So a big Stim push coming in as well.
Yeah, we're gonna get that Liberator out as well. So this isn't gonna be a crazy timing here. He's just gonna use these Hellions to zone, get a little bit more information, deny a little bit of that creep spread. 2 more on the way. I mean, do we have any suspicion that this is gonna have a Hellbat timing to it? I don't think so. There's no armory on the way. It's gonna be more barracks, and I think you're right with showing of that Stim. I think he's just gonna start building up those marine forces and move across probably in a couple of minutes.
Okay, what Clem wants to do is either he commits and dives into the natural with his Hellions, what he does right now, or oh my god, he gets that evolution chamber denied as well. Come on, Clem, you don't have to show off this much.
I actually like that defense by Silky, though. The block on the Evo chamber, I think, is actually brilliant. It forces those Hellions into a position where they can't get as much damage done, or at bare minimum, they're not able to fire their shots all at the same time. So it does protect those drones a little bit more. He only ends up losing 5 in that engagement, so he's hanging on okay, but he's lost a lot of minerals here by the 5-minute mark, almost 1,000 to the 450 of Clem. So not mitigating damage as well as he probably would like. He is going to throw down that Spire, though, so we will see some mutas coming out onto the field.
Okay, Clem is doing a great job at just keeping that creep spread contained. He's pushing the creep back every time Silky is trying to get it out there. He has been doing so for a long time already. Once again, he just gets in, gets those creep tumors, and goes out, leaves again. And that is a great setup for his push that is going to be approaching that 4th base, because +1/+1 combat sheet is almost done. We should see an armory started. There it is. And with those Hellions that survived, tanks and marines, he could hit a big timing. He decides to do otherwise and go for a small drop.
Yeah, but I think small is going to be a subjective word here. These are still going to hit really hard. 1-1 is just about complete. Combat shield is just about done. But he's actually going to push a little early here. So if Silky had any opportunity, it's right now. Now he is going to fight off a creep just a little bit. Good amount of Zerglings get around all of these Marines, and he still cannot target down those Banelings. Banelings are going to get on top of some of those, and the split is not quite there. So 1-1 is going to finish up here. But Clem's lost a lot of his push here. So Silky with a good defense. Oh, he's going to trade away a couple of queens, though. Ooh, okay, I like this a little less and less. But overall, still an okay stop here for Silky.
Well, he did trade in a lot of those Banelings, and Clem managed to hit just before the Baneling speed finishes. Now he has to be careful with those Mutalisks. They can do a lot of damage, especially if they catch those tanks off guard. But once again, the Medivac coming in for that hot pickup. Now all Silky is trying to do is delay that push of Clem. He knows he needs more Banelings, and he knows he needs to... Oh my god. This is not the engagement you are looking for.
Silky's trying to make the most of it, though. I mean, he was able to separate the big bio ball away from the mutas, so he was able to get damage done in that regard, but this is still looking a little bit rough here for Silky. He is going to be able to clean up most of the ground forces, but I think it comes at the cost of a fair number. Okay, so only 2 Mutalisks gone in that fight. I think that was a lot better than I was expecting. 1-1 still on the way for Silky. He's going to continue to try and push across the map, but I agree with you. I mean, Silky's just trying to buy as much time as he possibly can. He needs those upgrades. He needs more Banelings. He is getting more mutas as well. And this is an okay situation for Silky to play from, but he's got to have a better response than just mitigating. He has to have something that's going to deal a lot of damage, and he's not quite there yet.
Okay, so delaying the 4th base of Liquid Clem is a great first step. Now Clem is pushing on to creep though, and he will be able to push the creep back really far because he has been doing such a great job at cleaning up the creep already. His tanks are shelling at those Banelings. They need to be focus fired down, and the Marines mostly survive.
Those are going to get all cleaned up. Silky with a great engagement there, attacking from 3 different angles. I would love to see those medevacs get picked off because those are just going to harass him in the future. But instead, he's going to fly across the map with these mutas and try and get on top. I love this. He's going to get on top of the gas and try and delay some of the mech units and the Thors and mines of Clem. I think that's a great spot. Clem is going to scan. He is going to see that 5th base all the way done. But these mutas are going to be forced to back off here. They cannot take those Marines head on.
No, certainly not. Especially not with the Tor joining in. The first Tor volley hits the mutas and they are like, I'm out of here.
Wait a minute. Isn't it? That's what the Thor's supposed to say. Like, I'll be back.
Yeah, but the mutas are like, oh my god, it's a Thor. My accent just switched from creepy Zerg kind of voice to Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know I'm a U.S. citizen, so I know it'd be really easy to be like, oh, but Russia, you don't even know where he's from, and I know he is an Austrian citizen, not German, so.
Yeah.
So I have at least that much in the back of my brain. Black One and I talking very briefly during one of the breaks about all of his cool stuff. But this is a lot more cool. We are going to have some Banelings get on top of the creep here and connect with some of the bio here. But it's going to be more Banelings back in behind here. This is what he was waiting for. Silky's going to be able to swarm on top of here. One Thor is not going to be able to deal with all of those mutas, so they will be able to get on top as the rest of the army does go forward. Clem is going to be able to split well, but he doesn't split well enough. All of these units are going to get cleaned up here. Reinforcements going to stream on up from the north, but there's just nothing to deal with these mutas.
You're exactly right, Zilky doing a great job of clearing off those Widow mines before they get into dangerous positions. Now he managed to push Clem back. He has the supply lead, and those mutas and those Banelings are doing great right now.
I mean, Silky is playing with great precision here, making it very difficult for his opponent to try and play his own play style. He's just swinging around the map. He's got so much map control right now. But Clem, not down and out of it just yet. He is throwing down his 5th base down in front of where his 4th base is currently located. And he is able to zone out and get that map control back under wraps. But Silky is showing that he's got a little bit of map control himself. He's got that creep spread almost all the way out to that 4th base, and the mutas are just going to dive right on top of the natural here, picking off one of the turrets and grabbing 6 workers along with it here. So finally getting a little bit of economic damage done against his opponent. Wait, it says that he lost 6 workers, but the unit's lost tab says only 4. I'm confused.
Wait, there are certainly more kills to come, because more Banelings run into that 4th base of Clem, and Clem is looking really, really shaken by now, because Silky has been able to take the map. He has been able to push that creep so far up Clem's side of the map that he is able to just push and run to push and harass on every side of the map. Now a big circling run by gets into the natural. Banelings join in as well, and the Mutalisks and another couple of Banelings should be able to defend the rest of the army of Clem. Or are they? A lot of Mutalisks and Ultralisks are dying off, but the natural and main base of Clem is under siege.
Yeah, I mean, this is the damage that Clem couldn't afford at this point, because he was already down on his economy, and losing 19 more workers on top of losing a Thor, on top of thinning out his main army, is just not something he can afford at this point. So Clem is running on vapors. Meanwhile, Silky, I mean, he's already out to a base in the bottom right corner. He's picking up a base in the top left here, and he's already starting to work on some of the expansions of Clem, as this command center is going to be shut down here. I think that is actually going to get killed, and it's going to start picking off some extra workers in the mineral line as well. I just don't know what Clem has left in the tank here in game number 1. I mean, this is a rough situation to play from.
While Clem is down in workers, look at the army supply. Well, it is at 106, so very close to Silky's army, and he does still have the upgrade lead. Maybe not anymore. +3 attack just finished up, but +3 armor is still not done, and all of those Mutalisks just died. Another run by getting into the natural, and the Ultralisks are trying to do their damage, their share of damage as well. But Silky needs to be careful. He should not trade this inefficient. His 6th base has been denied quite a lot. So economically, he's looking rather weak as well.
Yeah, Silky can't afford to trade inefficiently at this point. Not against a player with the caliber of Clem. I think he can get away with it once, but that second time Clem's going to make him pay, and he's already threatening here as he comes up to the 5th base location. Actually, this is probably the 6th base location. The muta count is restored once again. But Clem's maxed out here. He's got 20 extra supply. It's going to be those Banelings that need to get money connections here. They are going to roll forward, but there's nothing to help zone with them. So they are going to fall to all of those mines, and now that just leaves the Ultras and the Mutas all by themselves, and I don't think that's enough DPS here. Clem's going to be able to stim backwards off of creep, and all of these Ultras are slowly going to fall. The stim is really low, though. This is really spread thin.
Yeah, Clem just lost all of his medivacs. He will have to replace them. And until that happens, his army is just super low on hit points. And with Zerglings and Ultralisks on the field, Silky is getting himself in a great position.
Well, that was a bit of a trade here over the last 30 seconds. I mean, we watched both of those armies flip-flop from being maxed out to not being maxed out in the matter of seconds. And these mutas need to be very, very careful, though. Silky, again, cannot afford to trade inefficiently at this point. All of these mutas are so precious. The gas count is just not there for Silky, but he's going to get on top of these. He knows that he's got an opportunity with so many Marauders on the ground. That means the Marine count is very, very low. And with those Marines getting picked off here, the rest of the ground army is going to be able to get into position here. And I think this is going to be a big push here for Silky. Clem looking a little low.
Clem looking like he might just GG. There are a lot of Zerglings and Mutas on top of his Marauders, and there is nothing to save them from the Mutalisks. I just want to point out how beautifully Silky played this when he picked off Widow Mines with his Mutalisks, now picking off the Planetary and killing a bunch of workers with it.
Yeah, it's showing to be difficult to kill the Planetary, but he killed 24 workers, and that's honestly what you're looking for. He is going to swing back with those Mutas and try and pick off the Planetary, because he knows he's going to be in a great position if he can, but he's already gotten what he came for, and I think it's gonna stand for now, but this base is not gonna stand. More workers gonna go down, 32 workers going down as it sits, and Silky is in almost full control here. He just needs enough to be able to seal the deal. He's got 40 more Lings on the way, more Ultras, more upgrades. Silky's in a great spot right now.
Silky has been playing really good, and this is once again one of those situations where the potential underdog is coming back to take down the big favorite, and Silky has already done this once in the past couple of weeks when he took down Neep 2-0 in his group and managed to advance out of a pretty strong group.
Well, he's got to earn this. Clem's not just going to roll over and get it to him. He's got a sizable army once again. Thor's being added into the mix once more as he keeps seeing those mutas being added into the unit count. But right now, I mean, it's just one muta. So it's going to be mostly a ground army here. Lots of Zerglings, a good amount of Corruptor as well. And that's going to be about it. But I think that's all Silky needs at this point, although I'd love to see that Baneling count go up. He's got 8 more in production. 13, I'm not certain that's enough, but Silky feels confident, but he is going to set up for a little bit of a surround here.
Oh my god. A lot of Banelings just died right there, and Silky is looking at a big spread from Clem. Clem is kiting like a god, but what does a god mean to, I don't know, to an unbeliever?
I love where that went. I love it. The rest of the army does meet up here for Clem. Silky, again, cannot afford to trade inefficiently, does need to back off here, but he picks off more and more of those valuable medevacs here for Clem. Every medevac that goes down makes it very difficult for Clem to sacrifice and get back into. He doesn't have the mineral count to go both into army and medevacs. He's got the gas for a little while, but he still needs more Marauders to deal with those Ultras. So Silky knows what every medevac kill can mean, so he sacrifices a little extra just to squeeze those out. Overall, I mean, he's lost 18 medevacs so far. I mean, this is such a scrappy game. This is another scrappy game here, Black One. Are we just going to see macro games all day?
I hope so. I certainly hope so. But what I want to see out of Silky right now is to go for those run-bys once again. He did it so well before, and the run-bys were the thing that got him into a lead to begin with. Now he has the potential for some circling run-bys to get on top of the production, but he didn't go for those yet. The Widow Mines connect really well, but the Bio Army is just running away from those Ultralisks.
Yeah, but every single time he stims, one of those medevacs loses its wings, and it's a rough situation here for Clem. Clem loses yet another planetary, 15 more workers going down. And I mean, he's just running out of supply. He's only got 5 medevacs left, and they're all rather low on energy.
While he is losing a lot of supply, Silky is doing so as well. He is so low on supply that I'm surprised, to be honest. He has been able to push Clem back quite a bit, but all he has right now is Zerglings.
Well, and the Zerglings are going to be good against really overstimmed army units of Clem, so I don't hate that position, but 12 more Banelings on the way, and he's going to leap on top here, get on top of the surrounding everything here. There's not enough medevacs to be able to zone everything out, but the Marauders are going to be able to stay alive for right now. I think it's going to be the second push here with the Banelings. That's going to be the key in the drawer here,
oh
and he's going to get on top of everything.
Those Widow Mine shots were just disgusting, killing off all the Banelings. And now Clem is kiting his soul out. He is taking every single step he can in that stutter step.
Yeah, more Ultras on the way, more Lings on the way. Clem just hanging on by fumes here. He's actually up in the army count right now, 96 to 71. So if Silky can just thin this out, I mean, he's got the economy to stay in this. Some very good transfuses on the Ultralisk here as it continues to get more kills. 9 kills right now, and it's going to try and return to the fight here. But I think Silky's going to have to give up this base. I don't know if this base is worth holding on to and sacrificing all of his army as Clem just continues to dominate in the army count here. 85 to 56. Those Banelings not finding the connections they're looking for. Is Clem going to hang on here?
Those Widow Mine connections were just so incredibly good. A lot of Widow Mines did survive as well, and now Clem is in a position where he can push forward, where he can pick off bases of Silky and try to go for a killing move. But he has to be careful not to be caught.
Yeah, but now he's out of Corruptors, so Silky can't pick off all of these medevacs, so Clem feels comfortable being able to lift up and get aggressive here. Some good Baneling connections onto the bio here, so that's a little bit of a slip moment, and Silky's able to hang on, but once again, this is kind of a game of time here. Clem's only working on 23 workers. Silky still has plenty of bases. He's still able to get that economy going. So, again, Silky's in a position where if he just hangs on, he can secure game number 1. But Clem is not going down without a fight. He's working off of as much as he possibly can. Those mules are still very, very valuable. I would almost love to see Silky go into something that would force Clem into scans, because that's going to eliminate the mule economy for Clem and really stint what little economy he has.
I love the idea. Also, it would put just so much pressure onto Clem. Whenever he moves out, he has to scan, because he can't be sure if there isn't just a Baneling bomb killing all of his units off. And right now, Clem is in the really, really hard position, because he has to deal damage on the side of Silky, but at the same time he has to defend his expansion. And right now there's a lot of Zerglings killing off SCVs, and Clem is down to 14 of those.
Yep, it's more Zerglings all the time here. There goes a scan, and that is going to be helpful here. He needs those, Silky wants those scans to constantly come down, because again, that's no mules, that's less economy. And I think we're finally starting to see Clem run out of gas here. He's able to stim, he's able to get himself into position, but ultimately, he's gonna run out of energy, he's gonna run out of those medevacs. More of those Ultralisk fall here. I would not be surprised just to see pure Ling start coming out of Silky here in the final moments of this game. But look at that. I think that's gonna be a nail in the coffin. One orbital command does go down. That's less scans. That's less mules. And these Lings are gonna continue to nail it down. And GG is called. Silky, with a scrappy 26-minute game, takes game number 1. And I think stunned everybody. Maybe even himself. GG.
Oh my god. In those breaks, I was telling you, I'm convinced Clem is coming out of this as the #1 winner. I was convinced he wasn't going to drop any maps. But suddenly Silky comes out of nowhere, for me at least. He wins the first map against Clem, and he is 1 map away to get into that winner's match against Sordov.
Yeah, that's definitely the scenario here, and some very, very strong play from both of our players, showcasing what is certainly possible in these upcoming series. But we're gonna have to see what can happen here. We are gonna go on to Golden Wall for game number 2, which, again, I think has a strong favor for the Terran player. Tons of airspace, lots of places to drop. Wait a minute. Okay. We might not be going to Golden Wall after all, as it appears that maybe was a veto. So I guess we're going to figure that out. We'll let our players kind of sort that out here. Of course, this is Group A of Disc, Clem, Silky, and Sort of. We've got some fun stuff set up for tomorrow. Same time, same place here on Afrika TV. Future, Namshar, Gerald, and Euthermal. So once again, all 3 races represented, and the 2 winners out of that group will go on to the playoffs that will be happening on Thursday. So lots of great things happening here. We are getting set up for our second map. We did go back to the tape, and it was, in fact, a Golden Wall ban, which doesn't surprise me, because Silky was like, wait a minute, whoa, I don't like that map. That map's not fun. And I would tend to agree with him. So we will have to see where we're headed. It does look like it's going to be Everdream next. But, folks, this is a great opportunity here. Check out that Match Reno link at the top of the chat. You can help us fund this prize pool by using the code APSUS7 to add 50 cents for free. It's very, very important that you help us out with that, so please do consider checking out that link. You can also find all of our amazing sponsors and their sponsor quests here. At some point in the cast, you're going to check and see from me how you can set up those sponsor quests for any Match Reno events that you may host in the future. It allows you to set up all of your different sponsors to add prize pool money into your events. It's definitely a great way to support StarCraft 2, and an even better way to support all the players in the esports scene here in 2020. So thank you so much for checking that out and giving that some thought and consideration. But it is going to be Everdream. So Everdream, I think, is going to be a little bit better map for Silky, which makes sense. I think Eternal Empire was definitely a Clem pick, and it would make sense that we would go to Everdream here for Silky's pick. So Silky in a good position to potentially take a 2-0.
Certainly is. And Everdream is one of those maps where I think Ling Baneling Hydra is the better composition, because it's so much easier to defend on this map. And if you can defend well yourself, your opponent might do the same. Right? So super aggressive styles like the Lingbane Muta style might not be as favorable. On the other side, Clem might just go for a really early tank push on this map. We have seen Maru go for something similar in the GSL. For everybody that watched those matches, we had a really strong timing, and I'm already looking forward to seeing Clem's take on this map.
Well, we're going to have to see if he's got what it takes here, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Everdream, our blue Terran player playing for Team Liquid. Give it up for Clem.
And spawning as the red Zerg player, he is currently up 1-0. He certainly came in as the underdog, but now he is one map away of taking it. It is Silky. And Silky is going to spot it. Oh my god. Immediately.
I was like, I didn't even get time to hype it up. Come on, Silky. You're not allowed to scout it that fast. He just taps.
Oh my god! Silky takes the match. Oh my god.
What?
What?
What? You're kidding me. He wasn't even gonna try it. He just like, nope, I'm out. It's just whatever. I'll just play in the elimination bracket. No big deal.
Oh my god. So we'll be having a ZVZ in the winners bracket?
Oh, I can't wait to hear people complain about that. Zerg's so overpowered.
He even took down Clem.
Oh, 2-0'd him even. I heard the second game he was done that fast. Wow, that's crazy. That is definitely a wild outcome. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know that I have any insight. Black One, what do you think?
I think Clem expected way better defense than Silky might have been able to show against this. And I think ZVZ is going to be great. We have seen a lot of interesting styles in CVZ lately, especially if it goes to the later stages of the game. The approaches are just so interesting. You have seen Lurkers, you've seen Vipers, you've seen Mutalisks. On the Korean side, we have seen Brood Lords as well. So all your Zerg heart is aching to see. You might see it, because sort of looks like he is in a macro mood today.
Ah, well, we're gonna have to see if any of those sentiments change here, as we are gonna go to a quick break here. When we come back, it's going to be our winners match. It's going to be Silky versus sort of a ZVZ right here on play.freakoutv.com/alphaxsc2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after. All right, hello folks, and welcome back. You guys are watching Group A of the Ultimate Showdown right here on play.africatv.com/alphaxsc2. My name is Rushy, and I'm here with Black One, and we are bringing you the winners match of Group A today. It's going to be sort of versus Silky. I will admit, I think we were like sort of, kind of expecting sort of to be in here. But I don't know if we expected Silky to make it here so quickly, making a very quick work out of his opponent, Clem, sending him down to the elimination match. I think Black One and I in the break still were kind of laughing at just like we had 4 giant macro games in a row. I mean, we're seeing all sorts of tactics and all sorts of great strategies. And then game 2 of the second match, and it's just over in a minute. So definitely we are blessed with some interesting games, but that's the kind of quality you can expect here from an Alpha X production. But we are going to jump right in to our next series. We're going to be starting on Everdream. It's going to be a ZVZ here, folks, spawning in the bottom left. Our red Zerg player defying the odds, looking to see if he can get out of this group in first place, playing for Psystorm Gaming. Give it up for Silky.
And spawning as the blue Zerg player, he's representing Team Cosmos. He is the one who just won against Disc. He is sort of. Okay, so for all of you out there, before the match started, I went like, okay, sort of picked Everdream first. He will go 12 pool. And Roshi was like, yeah, sounds reasonable. Well, sort of is not doing that.
He was close. So I think this has the potential to be a 14-13-12. It does look like he is going to go down, but no, it's just going to be a defensive 14 pool. Dang. Well, defensive. It's just going to be a safe pool. He's going to get 6 of those lings more than likely and just run them across the map. Create a little bit of chaos for Silky, but this doesn't appear to be all in just yet. Of course, he's got a lot of opportunities here. He could very well take all of his workers out of gas when he gets ling speed, but it looks like he's going to keep it there for now. So more than likely, this is just going to be a safe opening. Not as exciting, but I still think it'll put Silky on edge for sure.
Okay, so is your Zerg sense tingling for anything special? Are you expecting some roach timing, or is it just going to be macro oriented?
Yeah, I think he's gonna throw down these this Baneling nest here at the back and get a little bit more aggressive than I was probably even anticipating. I wouldn't be surprised to see a whole lot of drones not end up in that natural. These are going to be probably the Banelings that count here on the bottom side, these 6. And I could see this being a ling flood, and it looks to be the case here. He is banking those lings up in the main base. He's got more on the way. Now, Silky senses something's got to be coming here. He hasn't really scouted a whole lot, and there is no queen being made at the natural. So this is going to be an all-in situation here. More Lings getting shown onto the map. Silky is going to try and get any sort of information he can, and now he knows that speed is done. Banelings are on the way. It's going to be 4 more Lings incoming as well, and Silky's responding exactly the way he needs to here. He's got the Queens on the ramp, and that's going to prevent those Lings from being able to run up into the main base. So he is going to be able to deal as much damage as he possibly can here. The Baneling's going to get on top of everything, but they're not going to find any good targets here, so they are going to just kind of wander around. One Spine Crawler will be able to deal a lot of damage and kind of focus fire down on those Banelings to eliminate as much damage as he possibly can. But now, finally, those Banelings are going to find that Spine Crawler, but even then, that's not a really good use of those Banelings. This is a great hold by Silky.
It certainly was, and I love the fact that Silky just pulled all of his workers from the natural to the main base. He knew all he had to do is defend, and so he did. He did not risk losing any workers, and now he's up in workers.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love this. I mean, it sort of cut so much of his drone supply to make this happen, and this is just, I mean, a textbook response to that early Baneling pressure here. So this is great by Silky. It's not quite done. He's not out of the woods just yet, but only a couple more Banelings, and it looks like he's just gonna head back home.
Well, Silky is grabbing himself a layer. What do you think of that? Do you think we'll see some Mutalisks?
I think it's entirely possible here. He is dropping that 3rd and 4th gas down at his natural, so it is very possible we will see 2-base Muta here. I don't think Sort of wants to let it get to that point, though. He is getting his 3rd base, but essentially these two players are going to be on a very similar economy, sort of trying to sneak a Zergling of any type up into the main to get some scouting information. These Queens do wander out a little bit too far here, but both of the Banelings do get picked off, so Sort of is going to have to back off. He cannot continue his aggression without Banelings, and right now it looks like he's going to transition into Roaches. This is a great position for Silky to play from if he drops a Spire, and he has. So I think we are on the way for a little bit of 2-base Muta action.
I love this. When I was talking about how many sides this matchup has developed, I was thinking of exactly this. When you go for Mutalisks, when you switch your tags just whenever you fit correct, to just catch your opponent off guard. And those Zerglings will most likely be able to take down that hatchery, but a single Baneling fending them off. What a hero.
I just heard, like, every single time those Zerglings just went barreling towards the one Baneling. Like, my body just physically reeled backwards. But this is actually going to be a scary push here by a Sort of. He is going to get on top of his Roach count here. This is enough Roaches to be scary. There aren't enough Spine Crawlers here. Only 2, but 11 Roaches coming out here. So Silky in the last second is going to switch off of his Muta production. He's only going to have 1 Muta on the field. He senses the urgency. He knows Roaches are coming, and he's got to act. And I think he's going to be in an okay position here.
Yeah, those Spine Crawlers and the Roaches will most likely be able to defend everything, but there are just so many Banelings once again, so sort of going for a bunch of Banelings, and the Banelings of Silky connect so beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, he's down on supply right now. He is definitely not out of this. He's got to hold this second push here, but he trades 3 Banelings for almost 5 of Sort of, and this is a great position, but he's really kind of struggling right now. He does have the worker advantage, and eventually these Mutas will be able to clean up all of the Roaches. It's just going to be a matter of how much damage gets done before that point, and I think Silky is gonna be okay, but he is gonna lose a lot. He's lost 5 workers so far. He's got to hang on to this Queen if he possibly can, but that Queen is going to fall. More Roaches on the way. Sort of can just continue to flood here, and I don't know if Silky can hang on with what he's got.
Well, Silky is in the dire position that he has Mutas in the air, and those Zerglings and Roaches can't attack them, so they deal free damage, but there are just so many Zerglings that the Mutalisks have problems defending everything.
I mean, this is a big flood here. And there are so many banelings that went unscouted in the main. Okay, he is going to pull, so that is at least helpful. Yeah, the mutas are going to be able to zone those out, so that will be... Oh, no! Oh, so 2 go down. All things considered, that is okay. Silky does stabilize here, though. I think he's going to be okay. He's going to clean up so many of these overlords. And, yeah, I think he's done what he needs to here. There just isn't any response to these Mutalisks. Sort of tried his hardest to even out the worker count, but Silky now up to 43. These queens are going to be a good response. Silky can't just throw mutas into those mineral lines, so it is going to have to incorporate more Ling. It's going to have to incorporate more Baneling, but the mutas are going to be able to clean up the vision of sort of. He's going to be able to hold down map control, and at this point now, Silky can choose to play the style of game that he wants to.
Yeah, we already see it in the worker count. We see 52 workers for Silky, only 35 for Sort of. And now I'm wondering if Sort of is just saying, okay, you already have an advantage in workers, but I can always just take all my queens and roaches and push across the map and try to get that killing blow in, because all your army is in those Mutalisks.
Oh yeah, I mean, this was like the march of the Valkyries. I would just be singing it my little heart out. But yeah, this is a scary moment. I mean, this is all in for Sort of. Sort of is throwing everything he has into this attack. There are 10 roaches on the way here for Silky. So Silky's going to try everything he possibly can. He's rebuilt the spine crawlers at his natural. All things considered, the third base is salvageable. He just has to kill this army, but he is going to reposition so that way the army has to fight through everything. It's going to be tough here. There's lots of Ravagers on both sides. There are no Banelings for Sort of, so that is going to be the only saving grace here for Silky, and now everything begins. The Biles are going to rain down supreme here. They do get on top of a few of the Static D, but that is not going to be enough. Silky commands that lead and holds on. GG.
I can't believe how good Silky played that. He always had what he needed. He always knew where to position his units, and he just did a great job with keeping his Mutalisks alive until that big fight at the end happened, and then they came in from the back and took down the Ravagers. Just perfect play right there, and Silky going strong in this group. He might just go 4-0 in a group with Sort of and Clem. What do you make of this?
I mean, Silky's got to be feeling amazing right now. That I think it's less about how I feel. It's got to be more about how he feels. I mean, he 2-0s Clem, and now he plays a pretty commanding game against a Sort of who likes to play aggressive and is very, I mean, it's very capable that he's done what he needs to hang on here, because Death Aura is just going to lead to more aggressive play out of both of the players. So if Silky's comfortable sitting back and being able to use his scouting ability to hold more aggressive play, he might be looking at himself getting out of this group 4-0 and walking into a playoffs with a ton of energy and positivity flowing through him. So, I mean, we're going to have to see if he can hang on here, but Sort of definitely, I think, needs to dig deep into his bag of tricks. He's not going to be able to fool Silky with just a simple aggressive timing. Maybe we see the 12 pool come out. Maybe we see Sort of go into something a little more fancy. But we're going to have to find out here in just a moment as we hop into Death Aura for map number 2. Can Silky continue his win streak and get out of this group 4-0, or will Sort of have something else to say about it? Let's go ahead and find out. Spawning in the bottom right of Death Aura, our blue Zerg player needs 2 wins in a row if he wants to advance in first place to our playoffs on Thursday. Playing for Cosmos Esports. Give it up for Sort of.
Spawning in the left top corner He's a red Zerg player. He was deemed the underdog, but now he revealed he was a monster all along. He is the red Zerg player representing Psystorm Gaming. It is Silky. Oh! Okay, it was a mistake by Silky. He just pulled all of his workers, and I was like, "What? You do what?"
Oh. I've met Silky a couple of times in person. Silky's got to have a lot of adrenaline pumping through his body right now, because he's on a 3-game win streak right now, and it's very easy when you are excited, like a nervous excited, to just accidentally double click all of those drones and pull them every single way. So I can feel that. Now, I like this. Are you familiar with the spawning pool placement on this map?
Well, it's supposed to prevent the 12 pool rush, right?
Yeah. It's positioned in such a way where you can drop a hatchery right here and a evolution chamber, and it's a full seal, and you basically win. Provided you scout it and you don't allow the drones into your base, you just basically win.
Oh, nice.
Because it's so devastating. I mean, there's absolutely no way that your opponent can break in. There's not enough surface area to kill off any one of the buildings, and yeah, you just win. So yeah, you see a lot of Zerg players that will position right on that specific corner. Although, admittedly, this is really off the mark, so sort of I think would have had a much more difficult time had Silky decided to go in. I think he still could have done it. I mean, there's room for the hatch, and then might have taken 2 evolution chambers, but both players deciding to just draw this out to a macro game. So maybe for sort of that's like the greatest trick of all, right? If he thinks I'm going to be aggressive, well, maybe I'll just play a macro game.
Well, if we take some time and position ourselves as if we were sort of, he must have felt super happy when he saw, wait, Suki just took down Clem 2-0, and I'm up against him in the winner's bracket, in the winner's match. That means I might actually make it out of this group in first place. Now, the last game showed us that Silky is not just some random NA letter dude you're going to run over with your Zerglings and Banelings, but Silky has a lot of skill, and he did put it to show when he pretty convincingly defended everything sort of had to throw at him.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with that sentiment. I think you're absolutely right. Sort of probably thought he was going to have a free pass into the playoffs here, but Silky is on the verge of making that less of an issue for him. This is going to be a small force of Zerglings here that's going to put pressure at the third. Not a whole lot's going to happen here. There are Banelings out for both sides, so this should be rather zoned. Nothing too scary going to happen off of this, but it's going to be a Roach Warren for both players, just pretty quick. So I think, admittedly, I don't think Silky wants to try and force the Ling Bane phase if he doesn't have to against Sort of. But at the same time, Sort of's going, wait, game number 1, Silky did a really nice job. Maybe it's not worth my time to try it again. So both players just going to opt into moving on a little bit faster. Sort of's going to get into that lair a little bit quicker, though, so that is going to allow him that roach speed. We might be seeing a +1 roach timing in the works here for Sort of, and Silky could potentially have a difficult time dealing with that.
Okay, so what I just realized was that Sort of pulled his Overlord towards the acceleration zones to get away from that queen faster than the queen could move, like follow up the Overlord.
Oh, that's actually really cute.
Okay, so I kind of think we will not see too much. Oh my god, those Banelings. My heart. I don't think we will see too much aggression out of our two contestants until the fourth base is being taken, because until that point, defending the natural and the third base is rather easy, right? But put yourself in a position where you have to defend the fourth and the third base. That distance in between those bases is enormous. And if you want to try to defend it, well, go ahead. The ladder is on.
Yeah, I mean, both players are pretty much mirroring each other right now, both getting into roach speed. Sort of's going to have his just a little bit faster, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him try and hit a timing here. But these Zergling's going to put a lot of damage down onto this fourth base hatchery. It's not going to get cleaned up, but, or the hatchery is not going to get cleaned up per se. But, a lot of good damage here. It's a little bit of a distraction. So Banelings roll into the third base location, getting 6 kills. Silky doing a little bit of damage here on the flip side. Glial Reconstitution is going to finish up here. That roach speed in production still for Silky. But right now, Silky's doing fine, just laying back and protecting. So he doesn't need to move out at this point. He's gotten a little bit of economic damage. He can just continue to do his thing.
Silky just pulling the David Copperfield right there. Look at my left hand. Haha, I got your purse in my right now.
Wait a minute. I think I met those people in Las Vegas one time.
You see?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Where's my wallet?
Well, Silky just showing how great he really is and how his overall understanding of the matchup works, because he understands that if you pay attention here and you're trying to macro up as a Zerg as well, at one point your attention is going to be stretched thin, so I can get some damage in. And he just did that really well, and as of right now he is in a supply lead. Where are all those overlords dying?
Well, they're getting caught out in the middle of the map, so... Silky had a bunch out in the middle of the map. I think he had about 3 right here, and he just lost a couple in the center as well, so... a little carelessness there on the scouting, but I mean, to that point, like, look at all the vision here. I mean, you unfortunately can't see a black one, but we can see how much of the mini-map that Silky has access to. In fact, actually, both players are in a pretty even scenario here. So both players are maxed out, and it's a lot of Roach Ravager. Hive Tech already on the way here for Silky. He's going to have access to the Lurker Tech here very, very quickly. But both players just kind of dancing around the map. Not a whole lot happening at this particular moment, just a lot of positioning.
Okay, so something that is super important right now. First of all, Silky's Hive is done now. And Sawdust's Hive is not even halfway through. That means attack upgrade, armor upgrade, +3, you know? That'll be a lot faster for Silky. On the other side, he will also be able to get those Vipers out way faster. And getting Vipers out is so important if you're going into that Lurker versus Lurker kind of matchup. But now sort of has the upper hand on that side, and he's trying to force his way through towards the third base.
Well, this is the difficult dance of a mirror matchup where you're trying to guess how much supply you have against these split armies, and sometimes if one army does really well and the other one doesn't, you still end up losing, and that seems to be the case here for Silky right now, trying to rebuffer that army supply on the top side here, but the rest of the army does congregate at the ramp outside of the natural here. I think Silky finally has that defender's advantage, kicking in more of those roaches, so sort of is going to have to back off here. But it's going to come at the cost of a lot of these roaches. I guess Silky, more than anything, is just going to be able to free up supply to get those lurkers out. He's got more of those roaches in production. He had 25 on the way at one point. And On the retreat here. Oh, sort of actually picking off one of his own overlords. Never want to see that happening here. But yeah, absolutely. Now we start seeing that +3 attack on the way. We see those Hydras in production, but it's going to be sort of that gets those lurker upgrades a little bit quicker, even though Silky had his available a long time ago. This 4th base is going to get picked off, and I think Silky's going to be able to sneak out here, but sort of's going to try and jump on top of this. He does zone out that army to the top right-hand corner. Silky trying to trade as best as he possibly can. Biles going down on the backside of the army. I think ultimately Silky is going to lose a lot of this army force here, as sort of is still maxed out. But if Silky can get a couple more lurkers to help anchor down the defense here, I think he's going to be in an okay position.
A lot of roaches and ravagers being caught here once again, sort of just with beautiful movement, and he has taken the supply lead. He is up by almost 30 supply, and now the lurkers will have to burrow and unburrow as fast as they can, because those ravagers are coming for him.
This is a very dangerous hold here that Silky has to execute. He doesn't have enough lurkers to anchor this down, and there are more Ravagers on the side of sort of here. The defender's advantage is going to kick in here. More of those roaches do come out to try and deal with this defense, but one of those bases is going to be under fire. I think Silky is going to be able to push this off eventually. That lurker does provide just enough DPS to force this back and away. Those spine crawlers going to try and do a little bit of damage on the way out. Ultimately, Silky comes out way ahead, 100 army supply to 69, and somehow on the backside of this gets a roach run by and kills off 11 workers. Silky playing out of his mind today, Black One.
He most certainly is. And don't forget, in that fight, Silky had the upgrade lead. He had 3-3 already done because he did get the hive a lot earlier. Now, sort of +3 attack upgrade is just about to finish, meaning they are kind of even in upgrades again. But what do upgrades mean if you just have so many roaches?
This is a very scary push here for Silky, and he is going to get out of this group. 4-0, unbelievable play. GG is called, and Silky advances as our first place winner.
We didn't believe it until it happened.
I have to admit, I am shocked. I would relish even the opportunity of getting to hear from him and hear his thoughts, but you know, he's got to be celebrating right now. Congratulations to Silky making it out of this Group A in first place. He is going to be our first member of the playoffs bracket, taking place on Thursday, and you bet he earned it, beating Clem, beating sort of, and now we're gonna see, I mean, pretty strong elimination and decider matches here. I would have to guess that we're probably going to see Clem advance over Disc, but who knows at this point?
So we are facing Disc versus Clem next, and I'm already excited. Will we see another set off? No. What's the word I'm looking for, Rashi?
Another upset?
Yes! Set off, upset. Come on, where's the difference?
Oh, no. I got you. Will we see another upset here in the elimination match? We'll just have to find out. We are going to play a quick ad here. We've got some amazing sponsors here in the month of July. We've already talked to you about G Fuel and Matcherino, but we also have a great sponsor in Lenovo. So we're going to run a quick ad and then take a short break here. Don't go anywhere, though. It's going to be the elimination match between Disc and Clem. You guys are watching the Alpha Pro Series Ultimate Showdown number 2. My name is Rushy. This is Black One. We'll be right back right after this. My name is Rushy, and thanks for watching our StarCraft 2 content brought to you by Alpha X. Productions like this are made possible by support from our sponsors, like Lenovo. In 2020, Lenovo is committed to supporting online gaming communities and events. Their partnerships with brands like TSM, Apex Legends, and NRG are just the start of this commitment. The new Lenovo Legion gaming community is your place to go for exclusive streams, weekly giveaways, staff access, and so much more. Right now, Lenovo is doing a weekly giveaway of their Legion gaming accessories. Enter weekly for a chance to win one of their prize bundles, including the Legion K200 keyboard, M500 gaming mouse, and H300 stereo gaming headset. Support us by going to our event page for the Lenovo sponsor quest to get started, and keep heading back to gaming.lenovo.com for more chances to win while learning from the pros. Thank you for supporting Alpha X, and thank you for considering checking out our awesome sponsors. Now, let's head back to the action. All right, and welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the elimination match here in Group A of the Alpha Pro Series Ultimate Showdown NA versus EU. My name is Rushy, and of course, I am accompanied by my wonderful German friend, Black One.
Hey! Hey.
In the break, Black One and I were having a brief discussion about German phrases and German words, and he was very impressed at my ability to go to Google Translate and read German to him. So I felt really good. Like it made me feel good as an American because we're usually pegged as they don't know how to speak any languages other than American. But I do pride myself in my ability to at least speak Spanish and to read other languages, sort of, kind of.
Hey, Spanish is a nice language to learn. And you know another German word. I'm pretty sure because English language just took it.
What word is that?
Zeitgeist.
I mean, I've heard the word, but I don't know if I know what it means. Okay,
so it's the spirit of era, time era.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Geist is spirit and Zeit is time or era.
Okay. See, and that's what's fun about Alpha X is we've got so many people all around the world making StarCraft their passion, and we can share our different cultures across barriers, which I think is super cool. So, very, very glad to be able to cast with you, Black One. It's a lot of fun. But I will never speak Spanish on this stream as long as I know Enki is lurking, and I know he's there. He might not say anything in chat, but I know he's there, and I know better than to embarrass myself in front of the man, the myth, the legend, Enki himself. So we are going to be jumping in here. It's going to be Clem versus Disc here on Golden Wall for game number 1. It's going to be a TVP. How do you feel about TVP right now in the current meta?
Well, we have a lot of diverse openings, but if the 2-base all-in by the Terran doesn't work out, or the 2-2 push doesn't work out, I feel like Protoss is still in a really good position, especially with the nuclear battery. you have something at your hand to defend those 2-base all-ins that Terrans like to throw at Protoss. So I'm a Terran and I don't like the matchup.
Well, I love the in-depth insight. So we are going to be jumping in here. This is going to be a fun series, I think, for sure. Spawning in the bottom left hand of Golden Wall. It's our red Terran player. I think he's looking for some revenge here. Playing for Team Liquid. Give it up for Clem.
And if you want to root for anybody, then make sure to do it for this one. He is representing Team Root, and he is Disc.
Oh, no, Enki. No.
Oh, no.
No. Look, because the moment that I say my Spanish is good, I'm going to get this little notification on Discord. It's going to be like, oh, yo, Rushy, I'm so sick. Can you just cover the Spanish cast of GSL? And I'll cry. It's what I'll do. I will just start crying because I will be very sad that I would bring the worst Spanish commentary of all time, because I'd probably just be talking about how man, aren't tamales great? Aren't they just so tasty?
You know, I can feel you. Sushi approached me a couple of days ago, and he was like, hey, how fluent is your Korean? And I was like, well, I guess I lived there for 1.5 years, so I'm pretty good. And he was like, you want to cast? And I was like, oh shit.
oh, set it down there. That must have been one of those German words I haven't learned about yet. So this is a very interesting scenario here. Clem's deciding to take the pocket base down on the bottom side, and that's going to make things difficult for Disc to try and figure out because, he's not going to be able to spot this right away. So I think this is going to start triggering alarm bells for Disc, because he's not certain if that second base exists or not, or if he's going to be getting proxied. But it doesn't appear like he's diving around the map trying to look for anything.
From what he saw, this could very well just be a one base all-in by Clem. And, well, one base all-ins have been pretty strong and stable in this meta already. We've seen Innovation, TY, everybody pull out those one base all-ins where you get like fast gas or just a really early second barracks and try to push that way. But all of those builds have one thing in common, and that is that you wall off at your main. You wall off completely, and that's what Clem did. And Disc is just like, okay, what am I facing? Come on, you have to give me some information, otherwise I won't know what to do. And Clem is super happy with that.
Yeah, mind games play so much into StarCraft 2, and it's so easy to throw your opponent off just by getting them to think that you are going to be into a certain position, and then you just completely pull out the rug and showcase something different. So at this point, Clem has a pretty good read on at least the fact that he's gotten the mind games off. He has seen absolutely nothing. He has seen nothing of Disc's base, but Disc does not yet know what exactly is happening either. So both players are playing rather blind, and I think it's kind of Disc going into a little bit more of an aggressive play style here. He is rushing out Blink. His third base only now going out against his opponent, but I mean, that's actually kind of telling as well. Disc playing very confidently, knowing that he can at least try to take a third base. He's not even confident if his opponent has a second.
Well, I think with Blink and the Stalkers on the way, he must be feeling pretty good about what's coming from Clem. And he didn't see any units being produced by Clem neither. So he might just expect this to be a macro-oriented build. He is moving across the map with those Blink Stalkers now to get to this natural location for Clem. And let's see what he will be able to achieve there, because Clem should not give that away for free.
And he doesn't have a whole lot here to help anchor this down, so he's going to have to rely on the bio. And the bio runs up into the main base. I have no idea if this is what he intended. No, Clem was caught off guard by this, so he is going to pull the bio back here. And this should be enough to at least hold off the Stalkers initially. Blink goes backwards here, so he's not able to aggressively bring Blink forward, but I think with the Cyclone on the map, he wants to reserve all of his Blinks to defensive Blinks to keep these Stalkers alive. But Clem has enough army as it sits right now, and not only is he going to defend this, I think he's going to try and push off of it.
Yeah, Disc, by the way, doing a really good job at just picking off Marines here and there, picking off units here and there. He needs to make sure not to lose too many Stalkers, because they are his security when it comes to the earlier stages of this matchup. He is getting charged, so the next step is already being like in planning. Needs to be careful though still. And do we have a third base for Clem?
No. I believe this is just going to be a two-base timing here. He's only now throwing down the third command center, so this isn't entirely all in. But look at the army disparity here, 54 to 36. And that just continues to climb as his important upgrades have finished up. He's got concussive shells. He has stim and combat shield. He's got +1. I mean, this is going to be a pretty strong push here against a mostly Stalker army.
If Clem wanted to be really aggressive, he could just pull all his SCVs right now and roll over Disc. Disc has no splash damage whatsoever. Charge is just about to be done, and +1 just started. This army would not be able to hold a big SCV pull. Now, that probe is really brave. I hope he gets away. No, he dies. Bye-bye, Pro.
Goodbye, Probe. All right, so I guess more than anything, Clem has anchored himself a little bit of map control here, being able to secure what's happening. He's going to take a Marine and move forward and check for that 4th base. But this is where the damage is going to come from. It's going to be a double drop going into the main base. It's going to be a few, or it looks like just a couple of Widow Mines, some bio units. That's going to draw hopefully enough attention for Clem to be able to jump on top of Disc, but right now Disc knows because of this observer where this army exists, and Clem's he's gotta suspect something's up here because this Stalker army has just always been where it needs to be. Stalkers are going to actually be in the main base here as well. We're going to have to see how much damage this actually can get accomplished here. All of the units are going to be allowed to unload. 3 Stalkers is not going to be enough. A little bit of a warping of Zealots will help with that. 6 workers have gone down so far, and the majority of the main army here is just now getting into position, but there's going to be way too much here. This is not going to get anything done.
Clem just really picking Disc apart. The drop in the main has not been cleared, and it's still doing damage. Those warpins were just immediately killed off by +1/+1 Marines and Marauders. Those Widow Mines really got a lot of value out, and Clem just microing like a god, like a literal god. He's now trying to drop in, but will be forced away by Stalkers approaching. He might just go for the 3rd base now that he knows that the main army of Disc is out of position. He's positioning himself very well. Might just pick off a lot, a bunch of sentries, get some zealots as well, and is keeping up the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, Clem coming in here with a whole bunch of stuff. He's got a Liberator as well that's dealing a good amount of damage, picks off 3 more workers, but doesn't have anything to really dive in and kill just yet. But look at how much of this original drop here was actually salvaged. He pulled 3 of his Marauders out. All of them have more than a handful of kills, and those 2 Marines also have kills. It's going to be another drop here at the main base as Clem continues to try to pull his opponent further and further away from his main, but there's more Stalkers left behind this time. This is not going to get as much damage done, and immediately scans and goes, wait, can't quite drop there. But a big blink forward is going to get on top of this and at least pick off one of the medevacs. I mean, there's nothing else here, so this is going to get just a tiny bit done, but not what Clem was really looking for.
He did get some trades on to those Stalkers, which is nice, but overall he lost a lot of medivacs, which he is rebuilding right now, which he has to rebuild because your medivacs are the backbone of your army. First of all, they are super expensive, and second of all, they give you the mobility as a Terran player. They give you sustain to your army, and losing them is something you never want to be doing. Now, Disc is gearing up to attack at the 3rd base of Clem, and he might just pull those Widow Mines out with the liberation zones, though. I'm not sure if Disc really wants to engage up this hill.
No, I don't think this is the right place for him to try and engage into. Not especially with the command center being on the ground, hogging a lot of the space. Those 2 Liberators are going to be way too much to try and deal with, especially with Vikings in the air. So I think more than anything, Disc is just going to try and bait as much out as he possibly can, see if he can use those force fields to separate a little bit of bio to clear out some of the supply count. But overall, I think he's just going to leave it at pressure and go on from there. And this is the power of using this bottom base to get a 3rd base economy, because if he's busy trying to hold this area down as a 3rd base, that becomes way more difficult of a task to try and accomplish. But Clem is playing with the big brain strategies here. He is out with Ghosts. His Ghost count is in pretty good shape. He's going to need to use those EMPs to get on top of this army, but the Stalkers are going to blink forward here. Clem is kind of caught out just a little bit. He's going to get a good stim and separate at least a little bit of the Stalker army and continue to back off. But there's still a lot of Colossus left on the field here. There's still 3. One of them still has full health. And with all those medevacs cleaned off, I mean, Clem's in a really rough situation right now.
Yeah, once again, he lost all of his starport units, and rebuilding those is just super hurtful because it takes away the time that you wanted to be spending on Liberators, on Vikings, units that actually deal damage. If you lose those supporting units like the Medivac, your army is just so much weaker and way more squishy. But after all, well, this did lose a lot of units as well. Now he's trying to go into those Disruptor, and well, Disruptor do a lot of damage and they do it instantly, but we'll see if he gets any good connections. As of yet, the splits and target fire micro abilities of Clem were really good and on point. Now Clem is behind in supply. He might just lose this, but the lock-on on the Colossi takes down the Colossi, and now what is there left in army supply, really?
I mean, this is so dangerous for Clem. Look how stimmed that army is. I mean, this round of Zealot Warpins is going to be the scary part of this. They will chew through a half-healed army here, but now we do have a couple more medevacs here. That army will finally get topped off the way it needs to be. But you're absolutely right. Clem with some very good tactics there, picking off some of the higher value AoE units of his opponent. And it does allow him to at least hold for now. But Disc able to leap ahead. He's got a better economy. He's working with a lot more army at this point. And that income advantage graph continues to sit firmly in his favor. As long as he can continue to mine his opponent, he should be in an okay position trading out the way he is.
Oh, he loses the War Prism with all the High Templars in it. He only manages to drop one High Templar, and that's the call to go back, because this army cannot fight. It does not get any reinforcements quickly enough. And Clem will just roll over you if you are not careful. You don't have Storm. You barely have 2 Colossi, which will be picked off immediately if the engagement goes wrong. So go back, get yourself some reinforcements, and then try to push out again. But most importantly, try to build up those High Templar counts, because as of right now, those were the most reliable units for you.
There's going to be a big stem forward here. He needs to be careful, though. He does not want to try and engage up this ramp so brazenly, but the Disruptors have already shot off their Disruption Novas. Only 3 Colossi and only a handful of Archons. Only 4, so the splash damage in the AoE is very, very low for Disc, and that's so funny looking at the supply counts here. I mean, Todd would be screaming at us, look at the supply, 195 to 165. But here, Disc is unable to effectively engage into this army, and he's got to be very, very careful.
Well, one thing we should keep in mind is that Clem is only at 56 workers, so the army supply, the supply overall, might be lying a little bit, because the army supply is fairly close with 125 to 117 supply. Now it is all about the value that Clem can get out of those EMPs and the Marines and Marauders. If he gets those money shots off, which he did so far, he might just do it. But this Disruption Nova just kills half of the army.
Oh, that was what Disc was waiting for. His patience was rewarded. I don't know if he's going to get that lucky a second time here. EMP does coat just a couple of those Stalkers, but not getting exactly as much as he needs. And this might be where Disc feels confident to charge on in. The Zealots all run on forward. We start to hear those ghosts getting picked off one by one. Every single ghost that's eliminated from this army is death waiting at the doorstep here. Clem is in a very difficult position here. He just doesn't have anything to clear up all of these Zealots.
At the same time, there's harassment at the natural of Clem. He's just being picked apart right now, and Disc might just be able to push it through.
Yeah, I think getting back into this corner is going to be super difficult here. This army is just kited for a day and a half, but there's nowhere else to run. The third base does get lifted off here. 11 workers do get killed. He is going to back off for now because he doesn't want to overcommit, but he knows that there are juicy targets lying up north here. He's just going to rotate up. This is a planetary, so he might avoid that for the time being, but Disc knows he's done the damage that he needs to. The army count is almost halved. Disc is sitting with more workers. He's got a better economy here. Disc is in a great position in this game.
And this drop is the kind of move I was talking about. Clem really likes to go for very gamble-ish plays, but then sometimes they don't pay off, and Disc just charges in and chops him off.
Yeah, I mean, Disc with a very strong play here in this series. I have to say once again, admittedly a little bit surprised at the result, but Disc certainly showing that he's got the horses in the barn to take care of business. So we're gonna see ourselves moving into game number 2. It's going to be on Everdream. Now this could potentially be a last game for Clem, so Clem does need to snipe out an opportunity here. Ooh.
Oh, I think we should be changing.
I think
Disc
the players
says it's fine.
Yeah, I think the players agreed on NA East for all of our events, or all of our games in this series. So so yeah.
Are we on NA or are we on? We are on EU.
Oh yeah, we are, aren't we? Well, okay. I mean, Europe is a nice place to be, so I won't complain.
You know, at the end of this group, when Clem loses his match against Disc and goes down first, we will say that bronze border on the NA server really had some meaning to it.
Oof. I mean, that's a tall order there. I don't know if I can get behind that, but I won't disagree with you as we do hop into our second game here. It's going to be on Everdream. Disc 1 win away from moving on to the decider match. If Clem is going to advance here, he is going to need to secure his first 2 wins of the entire series in this game, starting right now. And he spawns in the bottom left-hand corner, our blue Terran player, looking for 2 wins in a row to advance on to our decider match. Playing for Team Liquid. Give it up for Clem.
And now let me hear you shout and root. Here is the red Protoss player representing Team Root. He is Disc.
I don't know why. There was like a part of me that decided, wait, what if he proxies again? But I think he might have just tilted himself off of the face of the planet after his failed proxy against Silky. So he might just be like, no, we're just gonna play it safe. It's a lot smarter to do it that way.
I'm curious if, like, I would have loved to see a one base all in on this map. We've seen one base all ins on this map so often because it is quite hard to defend any blink pressure the Protoss might pull out. But Clem so far not looking like he's, or is he? No.
Game paused.
Okay, we're just pausing the game.
Hello, I have brought us back. I am dark. I've been getting in the habit of turning off my light when I cast because it's like just oppressive. So this is after hours Rushy you're seeing right now. Ooh. Okay, we are back. Clem just needed a second to fix something. After hours Rushy is gone forever. You can say that you were here when it happened. So.
Or you can go follow his stream and might get another peek at it.
Ooh. Man, I mean, I wasn't gonna sell myself out at this point in the stream, but I mean, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Well, let's get back into this game. We see the Adept chrono boosted by Disc, and we see pretty normal opening by Clem. Next up should be the reactor for the barracks. Come on, Clem, don't let me down. Yeah.
Clem's definitely nervous here. He's expecting something to be coming his way because he's already tossing down a bunker at this point, which against one Adept seems unnecessary, since the Adept's just gonna shade on by anyways. But what do you make of this bunker so soon?
Well, it's a defensive bunker because you never know if your opponent is going to go aggressive across the map, and if you only have one Marine fighting against an Adept, you are looking at bad chances. And he did go across the map with his Reaper. He's bringing him back now, but the defensive bunker is something I would recommend to everybody who is struggling in the early games, in the early stages of the game against Protoss. We see the Hellion, which is pretty basic, just to get the scout off. The Hellion is really quick and really cost-efficient unit for that. Together with the Reaper, you will most likely get a scout off. He should be looking at the timing of the third base to get a glimpse at what's happening. And so far we see Blink being researched, a Robo is dropped, and everything is looking like a 3-gate expand in my books.
I was admittedly just sitting there thinking like, oh man, I can't wait for him to be done telling me to try bunker at the beginning of my games versus Protoss, and be like, absolutely.
Yes!
I can't wait to try my Zerg bunkers. But then you talked about other stuff, and I was like, I'm just gonna sound stupid if I do that. So I just figured I'd own it. So not a big deal here. We are getting a Raven out right now. Raven's gonna be really good at deflecting any observers that may be coming across the map. It seems like Clem might be worried about the early blink pressure, because I mean there's so much cliff here that an observer and 8 to 10 stalkers can just blink on up and cause a whole lot of problems. But I mean he's right. I mean it's coming here, so
can't blame him.
Yeah, can't blame him at that point. I don't know if he's seen exactly what he needs to, but yeah, the Raven's ready to go, so he is going to be fine in that regard. What seems to be on the way beyond that? We do have a Forge in production. He's going to grab that +1. A couple more gateways on the way as well. Oh, the Raven's out of position. Oh no, Clem. Clem, you're about to debate yourself, my friend.
The observer is really far away, so the Raven might be fine. He's trying to go for a little bit of harassment with those auto turrets, and the recall immediately happens for four of those stalkers. And I'm curious if this might actually catch that Raven, because the Raven has been putting a lot of pressure onto him.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I feel like Clem did get a good amount of economic damage here, and he did have a plan in mind with it. But it's left the observer be able to freely roam around. But there's no stalkers here, so that blink timing is going to be mitigated here. And now Clem sitting with a giant bio tank force here. She's going to move across the map, and suddenly Disc finds himself having to be able to play defensive.
Well, Disc is in a lot of trouble, and he knows he's putting down a lot of shield batteries because +1 just is about to finish. Combat shields just finished, and Stim just finished as well. And he needs to catch this army and pick units off as far out as possible. Charge is about to finish. It's done now, but I don't know if Charge alone will save him. The force field's really good, really on top of the army control right there. He will clean this army off and be in a decent spot after all.
Yeah, I mean, I felt confident that Clem was going to be able to get a lot of damage done up until those 2 force fields hit right on the edge of the pillar. And we are getting a little bit of lag. No,
No,
Miguel.
it's Miguel.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, Miguel. Je voudrais ping, s'il vous plaît. I've done it. I've asked for something other than coffee. I've leveled up. But
Nice.
I don't think Disc is going to have enough here to be able to go push across the map. Ultimately, yeah, it's going to be this drop that's going to get a good amount of damage. It's actually going to slow down the +1 armor here as it's going to depower the forge. And Disc is just kind of completely caught out. He doesn't have a recall at his disposal right now. So 6 workers going to go down. Disc unable to really engage across the map. He's going to have a couple of zealots here, but those are going to get softened up. And he's going to force the rest of the army all the way back home. So Clem in a good position still, even though he didn't get the damage he was looking for at the 3rd base.
No, Clem certainly in a really good position. Getting that drop in was amazing. And suddenly there's like kind of a pattern showing with Clem's playstyle, because he went for the exact same drop in the last match. So if you're facing Clem as a Protoss player, you might want to look out for this in the future.
This is looking to be a little bit more scary here for Disc. He is down 30, almost 30 army supply here. Another good set of force fields. The Blink Stalker is going to try and reposition along the side, but he doesn't isolate out as much of the Bioforce as he did in the first exchange here. So not able to trade as efficiently. The Widow Mines are going to try and leapfrog forward here. A second set of mines going to soften up some of these zealots. I mean, Disc with a good hold once again, but it's coming at a great cost here for Disc. Clem is able to get his worker economy up into place. Clem still has an army advantage. Disc is not able to expand at this point, and right now, I mean, Clem continuing to hold down that map control.
Clem is just snowballing his lead right now. What do you do when you get ahead? Well, you get more ahead. He has been dropping, he has been trading units that Disc didn't want to have to replace. And now he's adding in Ghosts, and Ghosts will do really, really good in this army. On the other side, we see Disc does not have any splash damage at all. He just started Immortal production. Well, Storm is on the way, but Storm needs a while to actually be finished. And then there are still a bunch of Ghosts, which will deal pretty well with Storms of any kind. Now Clem is trying to push in and force an engagement. The EMPs were great, and Disc is forced to back off.
Yeah, this is a really bad position for Disc here. He's got all of his reinforcements cut off. Some great mine hits land on top of a good chunk of the units here. The Warpins are not going to be as strong, and Clem is able to use the terrain to his advantage here. He's able to dance back and forth here and basically make the most out of this Bioforce. Blink Stalkers are good, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to be enough here. One more big stim is going to be able to close out most of this army unit, and Disc has to tap out. GG is called, and Clem evening it up. First win of the day, and he's looking to make it one more as well.
That was some amazing play by Clem. He just always kept the pressure on. He always kept something going at Disc. First it was a Raven. Okay, I can deal with the Raven. Then there was that bio push. Okay, I could deal with that. Then there was a drop. Oh shit. Oh no, I wasn't in position for that. Okay, I only lose 6 probes, but I lost a lot of zealots and I lost a lot of mining time as well. And then there's another push, and suddenly I don't have any warp gates ready. I don't have any minerals to spend, and I don't have any splash damage. And at that point, you know you are in trouble.
And Clem was bringing the heat here because, again, like, first win of the day. Like, how has Clem gone this whole day without securing a win. And he was definitely feeling it. He needed to get that. He needed that for himself. So hopefully that will be enough energy for him to potentially sweep this elimination match and move him on to the decider match, where sort of lies in wait. I don't know. I'm still convinced that in a heads up over the course of time, sort of is probably going to come out ahead over Silky more times than not. So I'm not sure if Clem's in a better position going up against a player like sort of, or if it's just going to be a step down, but we're going to have to see if Clem can take one more here. What does Disc have in the bank against his Terran opponent? We'll have to find out here on Ice and Chrome. By the way, everybody, thank you so much for all the follows. I'm pretty confident that these follows are actually for the Twitch channel. So I think I just turned that off. But thank you, everybody, for supporting Alpha X on all the different avenues. Of course, we're right here on Afrika TV, so I don't believe we have anything set up for that, so I can't really pump anything out in that regard. But check out that Matcherino. That Matcherino is super important here because I know one of these players is looking to secure a chance to win some of that prize money. Could it be this player spawning in the bottom left-hand corner? Our red Protoss player playing for Team Root. Give it up for Disc.
And the one, the shell himself, he's the blue Terran player. He is Liquid Clem.
Now, have we confirmed that Clem is in fact a liquid? Like, he's not a solid, he's not a gas. He's in fact a liquid.
Well, do you get wet if you touch him?
I don't know how to answer that question. Well, anyways, looks like he's building a barracks right now. That's pretty interesting.
Well, do you get wet if you touch water?
I mean, that's I think there's like, I think scholars have had like major debates about this one, whether water is actually wet. Does water make other water wet?
Good question, but can something that is already red even get wetter?
Does she actually sell seashells down by the seashore?
Or does it become wetter?
Well, if we're talking about Clem, I'm not so much worried about stormy weather, but Disc, on the other hand, we always have to check that weather forecast.
Well, he has deep roots, so any storm will just go away.
Are you saying that he would weather the storm?
Yeah.
Oh.
Whether it's liquid or solid.
Oh man, this is like I love terrible dad puns and terrible like punny humor, but like I'm physically starting to hurt over this. This is wonderful. I love it. This is the kind of content you come to play.afrikatv.com/alphaxsc2 for, folks. All right, we got double gas here out of the Terran player. I don't think that's anything.
And we have a Stargate.
Ooh.
Did you watch the series Stargate?
Or were Stargate
you more
SG-1?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Great TV show.
Right?
Yeah, it's an
It's
old
been a
one.
while since I watched it.
So,
yeah.
so I feel like people either watch Stargate SG-1 or they're Battlestar Galactica fans.
Really? I always thought like you either watch Stargate or you watch Star Trek.
Oh, see, in the Americas, it's always like you're either a Star Trek fan or a Star Wars fan.
Ah, there's too many Star things.
Yeah.
There's Star Trek, Stargate, Star Wars,
StarCraft,
Star Citizen, StarCraft.
So many stars. Dancing with the
America
Stars.
Yeah, something like this.
Oh man, you can tell this has been This has been a fun cast here. I mean, we're 3.5 hours in here. We've had some amazing games today. Sometimes the first 4 or 5 minutes, there's not a lot that's actually exciting that's happening. So, you know, we appreciate you allowing us to banter a little bit and share a little bit of the fun side of casting StarCraft 2 events. So thank you so much, everybody. I haven't had a chance. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of today's production. Of course, today is only Group A. We will have multiple groups, so hopefully you will consider joining us over the next couple of days as well. And it'll be the two of us coming back. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for some people. Oh, we got some action.
Oh, we got some action. The Hellions going into the natural as well, while the Marines in the main base are distracting, and those Hellions get big shots off. 13 probes killed already, and GG is called.
What a way to wrap that up here. It's 5 minutes, Black One and Rushy just bantering, and then all of a sudden, 20 seconds of gameplay. GG.
Hey.
Yeah, and that's the kind of gameplay that I think we all expected out of Clem over the course of this series, and it looks like he's finally starting to get into his own, which is good. So that's a good warm-up for him going into his next game against Sort of. So we are going to get set up for our decider match. The winner of this next match between Sort of and Clem will be joining Silky in the playoffs here on Thursday for the Alpha Pro Series Ultimate Showdown Group A. We are going to take a short break here, but don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back right after this break. My name is Rushy. I'm here with Black One. You guys are watching Alpha Pro Series Ultimate Showdown. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. All right. Hello, friends. Welcome back to our decider match of Group A of the Alpha Pro Series Ultimate Showdown number 2. Before we get into that, I am going to send us to a quick ad because I wanted to make sure that we are set and ready to go for our first series. That lobby is coming up right now. But I want to show you some information about Matcherino and how you can create your own sponsor quests for events that you might be interested in hosting in the future. So we're going to run that quick ad right here, and then we will be ready to go for our decider match. So don't go anywhere. Check out this ad, and we'll be right back. My name is Rushy, and this is a 1-minute tutorial on how to create your own Matcherino quests for your online events. Let's get started. Go to Matcherino.com and click the sign-in button in the top right. You'll need to link an account to begin. I use my Twitch account because it's the most convenient for me, but you can choose which one works best for you. Once you log in, click your username in the top right and select Profile. Along the left side will be a place to select Sponsor Quests, and you've arrived. Click the Add button and give this quest a clear title and a sleek image. Your quest can be attached to all games, but one option to better reach your audience is to limit your quest to games that fit your specific community. You can also target specific audiences by whitelisting specific countries, or by blacklisting specific countries so they can't see your quests. You can also set specific actions that your quests require, such as website clicks or Twitter follow. Doing all of this will get you great-looking buttons that your fans can interact with on your Matcherino pages. Use the Analytics tab to see how your quests are doing and what works best for your community. Every click counts. I hope this video helped you start your Matcherino quest. Thanks for supporting Matcherino. Now, let's get back to the action. Thank you, past Rushy, and welcome back to future Rushy. Here with Black One as we get into Everdream for our first map here of our next series. Black One, you excited for this TVZ?
I am most excited. I've been the whole day.
It's good. We're starting to see Clem play the type of games we expected him to. Let's see if he can continue that trend against this player spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. Our red Zerg player playing for Cosmos Esports. Give it up for Sort of.
And spawning as the blue Terran player in the top right corner, he's representing Team Liquid. He is Clem. Cheering in the background.
Every single time I see a barracks built in the main base, I get a little more sad.
You want that Silky game back?
I do.
You know what? You just said you like bad puns. I have another one for you.
Oh, I'm ready.
How would you call Scarlet when she's seen at the sky?
Oh,
like
boy.
She's just flying there, right?
Okay, yeah. What do you call it?
Starlet.
Beautiful.
Oh, I love those jokes.
12 out of 10. Would want you to tell me more bad jokes in the future.
Don't challenge me.
Don't challenge you. Okay. Well, as we get this game up and running, folks, thank you so much for checking out that Matcherino ad, by the way. Still have plenty of codes available, folks, as this game gets wound up here. I promise you won't miss a thing if you head on over to our Matcherino page and check out the prize pool there. Use that code APSUS7 to help us fund that prize pool. Guys, it is so simple to do this. All you have to do is click contribute. You type in that coupon code APSUS7. You can sign in to contribute on any account that you want, and then that's it. You're saving esports, like literally like one day at a time. It's amazing. So please do consider checking out that coupon code. Thank you so much for being a part of this event. We hope to also see you throughout the next couple of days, because we've got a lot of amazing games coming as we do get into the 3-minute mark of this game, where both players are playing rather standard here. It was just a normal Rax expand for our Terran player. We've got a third base already coming out here for Clem. Black One, what do you think it's going to take for Clem here to advance over sort of? What changes should he make from his games against Silky?
To be honest, I don't think he has to make any changes. The games against Silky are pretty much the opposite of what you should expect out of Sort of. Sort of is more the kind of guy who is willing to go for those Hydra, Baneling, Lurker kind of situations. He will just turtle on his 4-5 bases and try to get really good engagements while he gets in with those run-bys. On the other hand, we saw Silky going for really aggressive kind of plays. He would just catch your army in the middle of the map with only speedlings and mutalisks and try to snowball from that point on, which is something that can catch you off guard and throw you out of your rhythm. And that's what we saw with Clem in that match on Eternal Empire, and I'm sure Clem will not be as susceptible to rhythm changes like against Sort of, like he was against Silky.
All right, well, we're going to see if he can get this kind of work done that he's looking for here. These Hellions not getting as much done as they were hoping to, as they do try and weasel their way in, but absolutely no contact with any sort of drones at this point. So no drones executed. The 13 Lings, that's an easy loss here, but now it is going to be a Liberator trying to get some work done, sort of with a very good pull on the backside of that's going to mitigate all of that damage as well, and it's kind of swatting Clem away here, at least in the first couple of minutes. Yeah,
Clem already giving up all his map presence that he built with those Hellions. He is going into Stim and +1 attack upgrade. I'm curious if he might try to hit a really early timing because he only had 4 Hellions. We'll see how he approaches this. But something all of you out there could do as well when you are in those kind of situations where you don't know what's going to happen next, is you can go to the Matcherino and just check out the replay pack, because you will find the situation you're looking for.
Ooh.
Well, right here we see +1/+1 melee attack and, well, armor upgrade are being started for Sort of. He is in fact looking to go into Ling Baneling. I'm curious if he's actually going to draw the Spire or not. There's the Hydralisk then. Okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to see more and more professional Zergs go into Hydraling Bane at this point, which is interesting. It's not been a desired composition here for a while, ever since they nerfed the Hydra a little bit. But I think with the return of the Widowmine nerfs, I think we're seeing more Terran players incorporate Widowmines, and of course, naturally, Hydras are rather good at mitigating Widowmines and Medivacs. So we might be seeing a bit of a resurgence there, trying to make the most of the situation. That 1-1 is already on the way as well.
Well, the great thing about the Hydra list composition is that for once you do force different kind of factory units out of the Terran. Terran can't just go for Widow Mines if you have Hydras. They won't deal quite enough damage to those Hydras, so you go for tanks, which we see out of Clem right here. On the other hand, you get Lurkers, and Lurkers are just so good right now and so hard to deal with for the Terran player. And once again, something that the Terran player has to keep in mind when he chooses which tech to go for.
Yeah, we're seeing, I mean, Raynor's really popularizing the Lurker play right now, showing a lot of great games in the recent DreamHack series that he has played. I don't think we've seen a Lurker Den quite yet out of sort of, but I mean that I would agree with you. The Hydras on the field plus the quick Hive incoming could lead us towards that direction. So we'll have to keep an eye on that production tab. We do see 2-2 on the way for our bio for Clem. Clem is also out in the middle of the map, sort of doing a nice job so far with his creep spread, but Clem is going to slowly start pushing it back here. It's going to be a bit of a drop here in the main base that will cause a little bit of problems here for Sort of. Sort of's going to get a little bit of damage done, but it might cost him a medevac here. It does, so some of these Marines I think will have to fall, but some good damage, and he does get a scout out on that Hive.
We've been blaming Sort of for not getting enough creep spread out in the match against Disc. Well, now his creep spread has been looking really good. He has almost reached the third base location of Clem, which is amazing. And as we said in the games against Disc, if you have that creep spread out there, you see things coming a lot earlier, and those things need a lot more time to get to you.
Yeah, the Queen's actually slightly in range of these tanks right now, and I think Clem was going, wait a minute, why are there Queens all the way out here? So he sees more creep. He is going to probably try and clean that up a little bit. But here actually comes the scary part of this force here for Clem. Clem does have a pretty significant army supply advantage, and he doesn't have a whole lot to deal with that, but the Baneling count is rather good here. Tanks are going to get sieged, and they're mostly on creep, so that was actually a very good hold here for Sort of. Clem still does have a significant army supply advantage, but picking off those tanks is very, very good for Sort of as he tries to reposition.
Well, Clem picking off a lot of those Banelings, and interestingly enough, he lost a lot of tanks as well. So we are kind of trading gas for gas right now, and if I'm in Sort of's shoes, I like trading Banelings against tanks a lot more than I would like trading tanks against Banelings as Clem.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of damage down onto this Hive here. I think he's going to pick it. I think this Hive is going to get completely shut down here, and that is going to slow down the tech of Sort of, at least for the time being. He's going to have to completely restart a lair, which he is doing down at the natural base. But fortunately, he did have adrenal glands already being researched, so he is not going to be completely locked out of his tier 3 tech for a while, but no lurker upgrades if he decides to get into lurkers.
Did he get the Lurker Den yet?
I don't think so. Doesn't appear to be the case.
Oh, big engagement here in the middle of the map. Actually, it's so hard to call those fights because it sort of looks like he has a lot of army, but then you look at the supply and you see, oh no, he's down 20 supply. Where is all that supply of Clem? And the answer is It's just walking across the map.
Yeah, it just hasn't even hit the field of battle yet, which is what makes this very scary for sort of, because what he sees is, okay, I traded out that army. All right, I can at least group up and hit again. But then as he's trying to build more of that army out of larva, suddenly a drop hits in his base. Suddenly a drop hits at the 4th base. So that creates a bit of a problem situation for sort of, as he is trying to get back into this game. Fortunately, though, he does have a stable economy. He does have 5 bases, but he's got to find a way to increase his production here, or else Clem is just going to continue to trade efficiently and roll him over.
Clem just managed to deny that 6th base of sort of once again, and this is one of those bases that sort of he needs it to produce, he needs the minerals and the gas, but right now what he needs is a good defense against the ball of Clem that is coming his way. He is rolling in with all of his units, but all of the banelings die, and in the main base there was a drop as well, which just forced enough units out of there for Clem to pick up the 5th base.
Yeah, the problem for sort of is he had to send all of his lings up to the main. He did a great job. He actually pulled 2 of those medevacs before the drop even got there and killed off a lot of units. I think sort of didn't know how much was actually still left of that army, so he sent a lot of those zerglings, and that unfortunately made it impossible to engage on top of those siege tanks. The bio is able to just target out all of the banelings almost immediately. And this is going to be the situation here where it sort of needs to clean this up, but unfortunately more tanks coming in behind the barrier here. He does have a nice concave of those hydras, but once the ling and the bane is cleaned up, there's just nothing to defend. GG is called, and Clem takes a convincing game number 1 here, looking to make a clean sweep here as he tries to get out of this group.
Sort of did have a really nice creep spread in the beginning of the matches, but when Clem started gearing up and just putting on the pressure, sort of did not really spread too much creep, and that's what we saw in the last couple of fights in the middle of the map, where there was no creep and sort of was not able to get a good engagement to get on top of Clem's army and to kill it off.
Yeah, I mean, a really good situation for Clem to play from. Can he do it again is the question, or will sort of come up with something crazy here to get himself back into the game. Now, folks, this is potentially our last game of today's series. So if you have not already taken the opportunity, please do consider checking out our Matcherino here, folks. I do have a really quick video that I'm going to show you about how you can contribute to our Matcherino here right before we get into this game. So check this out, folks. Super simple, and then we'll be into our game.
For our event and contribute in many different ways. 1. Click Contribute, enter the specified coupon code to contribute a predetermined amount of money to the prize pool. 2. Free sponsor quests. On the right side of the screen are various actions supported by sponsors, including retweets, Twitter follows, surveys, among other things. Click into these boxes to complete the action and add the attached prize contribution to the pool free of charge. 3. Marketplace. Products are available in our marketplace, which also contribute to the fundraising pool. Be sure to check out the variety of apparel and collectibles, as well as other unique items. 4. Donate. Clicking on the Contribute button, you're able to add funds to your Matcherino wallet and then directly contribute them to the fundraiser page. Thanks for supporting your event with Matcherino.
Alrighty, folks, we are in and ready to go here for game 2 of this Decider series. Spawning in the top right, our blue Zerg player. Playing for Cosmos Esports. Needs to win 2 in a row if he wants to get out of this group. Give it up for sort of.
And spawning in the bottom left corner, He is what others call liquid. He is Clem.
Silly stuff. Silly stuff here. Thank you everyone for checking out that Matcherino ad. Matcherino is so important to us as they are pivotal in our pursuit of paying our players and giving our esports scene an opportunity to offer some great prize pools. So please, we do ask you to consider checking out the Matcherino. You can use that code APSUS7 to add 50 cents for free to the prize pool. Again, it costs absolutely nothing, and it gives so much to our prize pool. So thank you so much for giving that some thought here as we get into game number 2. The Reaper's already across the map here doing a little bit of a damage dance, but once again, it's Eternal Empire. We talked about this in Silky versus Clem, where this, if you don't immediately jump out to this third base, it delays your third by just so much because you can't afford to try and take the base over here on the south side. So very, very interesting to see that both players are choosing not to advance super fast, but Clem's going to capitalize on it regardless.
Well, Clem, what are you up to this time around? Well,
what do you see?
I see Hellions.
Oh, okay.
I see dead people.
Oh no. I think that's a copyrighted movie. Oh no. Please, Afrika TV, not this way. Not like this.
Not like this, not for a movie with a semi-good plot twist in it.
Oh, now you're just being mean. Oh my God.
Okay, so really late hatchery for sort of right here. He is going into a really quick layer though, and he is grabbing 2 additional gases. So, Rashi, talk to me. Do you feel roaches or do you feel mutas?
Well, right now it's got to be roaches because he's missing that 4th gas up in the main base. So I guess he's going to take it now. So it could potentially be, I would guess with 4 gas, it's going to be mutas. And having been held on 2 base for so long, that's a great play. And that's exactly what he's going to go into. Now, there's a couple of NA professionals that actually do a dedicated to base muta timing, and I actually play a little bit of that as well, and this is well behind that timing push, so I think he is going to commit all the way in to mutas. Now, something I will admit that we haven't, I'm surprised we haven't seen any battle cruisers.
Right? But to be honest, Clem was never the kind of guy who would go for battle cruisers. He likes to be in your face. He likes to force you to make mistakes, and battle cruisers are just a little bit too clunky for him, and he's trying to find some damage once again with those Hellions, and I'm not sure if he's going to find enough damage with them.
Oh, well, I think he will. Once all the Zerglings get cleared up, I mean, there's not a whole lot left. So there are 2 that's enough to get damage done, but the question is, will he? He's going to be able to get into here. We'll start to see a few go down. Only 3. That's not the devastating damage that he was looking for, but at least he does get a scout off on the Spire. We will see Mutalisk production underway as well. So what does Clem have back at home? I mean, he does have that 3rd base in the wall, so he will be able to transition in that regard. And he did get a good scout off on the Spire, so if he wants to build turrets, he sure can. And there they start to.
You know what? When you were talking about NA grants and their Zerg playstyles, I was thinking of Starkiller once again. And I was thinking, like, I was walking down the road the other day and I was like, hey, I remember another fictional character that is called Starkiller. Yeah. Have you ever played Star Wars The Force Unleashed?
I haven't, but I have friends that.
Well, the main character is called Starkiller there as well. So once again, pop culture being thankful to all those people choosing names of characters in it to get some free ads.
There we go. I love it. I love it. And I think Starkiller, that'd actually be interesting to ask him if he was inspired by that or not. So, but this is the kind of Mutalisk damage that I think sort of is really looking for here. Once again, going to jump on top of the gas geyser in the natural. That is going to limit the amount of tanks that can come out of this push, but this is a scary army here. What does Sort of have back at home? He has Zerglings, black one. I think Sort of's in a bit of trouble here.
Oh my god, he's in more than just a bit of trouble. Those Marines are pushing across the creep. The splits are really good, and the tanks might just be able to focus fire all those Banelings. And now there's no creep. There's one drone down there, but this is the last chance Sort of will get to get those Baneling connects. He gets decent connects. He gets to clear out one medivac full of units and two tanks, which is a nice trade-off. I would love to see him just double expand right now. Maybe not. With that amount of Marines and tanks moving across the map, I'm not sure if he can actually expand right now, because this is just so much army.
Yeah, and having a lot of your army supply in Mutalisk, especially against a mostly Marine army, it's a tough position to try and play from here. Sort of is trying to double expand here. He is going to pick that off. He actually gets a full kill on that, so will not get any of his money back for that. Oh, he's going to be really careful here. He's going to get surrounded if he's not careful. He's going to have to sacrifice the tanks. He's going to try and get away with whatever he can. But Sort of actually, he's going to dive pretty deep on this. He's still got Banelings rolling in, and with it just being mostly Marines, at this point, I think Sort of is going to get the damage done that he's looking for here. And look, Clem's supply just plummets here. This tank is not in siege position. These mutas are going to be able to open up this wall, and more of the units of Sort of are just going to continue pouring on in. That is going to be so many workers that are exposed here. How many are going to go down? 13 have gone down so far. These mutas continue to deal more and more damage as they just are oppressive. There's no way to stop this at this point.
Yeah, Sort of once again the same thing as Silky did. He just jumped on top of Clem's army. Clem didn't have enough splash damage and just got crushed right there in the middle of the map. And Sort of getting that 1-1 draw. Now we're going to the deciding map. How are you feeling, Rashi?
The ace match, my friend. I mean, that was the boost that Sort of needed. I think he was feeling a little concerned, but pulled himself back from the brink. And now we've got two players that on the brink of elimination and the brink of moving forward will have to pull out all of their biggest tricks. And it's going to be on Death Aura. So quite the interesting scenario here for both of our players. Great opportunity, folks. One last time. Check that Match Arena page. Let's get some of those codes used. APS US7 to add 50 cents to the prize pool. Absolutely free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Doesn't even cost you 50 cents. But also, if you're really enjoying the games and you want to be able to study and be able to play like some of the best pros in the scene, you can always consider purchasing our replay pack for $5, and that money will go into the prize pool. So let's make that clear that all of the money that we are collecting, well, collecting makes it sound, all of the money that we raise in these match arenas goes directly to our players. So outstanding opportunity to support the players playing in front of you. I think that's it. So yeah, APS US7, check that out. Let's jump right on in, just in case things get a little hairy. Spawning in the top left. Our red Zerg player, 1 win away from advancing in the decider match. Give it up for Cosmos Esports' Sort of.
And spawning in the bottom right corner, he's the blue Terran player representing Team Liquid. He is Clem. I thought I'd go a little more like calm on this one. It's the last one after all. We have a big match in front of us, and you know what? I don't like Death Aura for Terran.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of Terran players, and mostly because the main is so small. Is that your feelings with it, or what would be your reasoning for not liking Death Aura?
Okay, the main is super small, but another big problem I have with Death Aura are Mutalisks. I don't see any, like, I see ways, but it's super hard to defend Mutas and Ling Run buys at the same time. I feel like the triangular third base is super exposed to Mutalisks, and if they don't kill everything there, the way to your production in the main is just super short. Your main is already super small, so your mineral lines are just under huge pressure. Also, it's a really big map. And if you win a fight as a Terran against a Zerg on your side of the map, until you're on their side of the map, they might just be remaxed.
Yeah, but look how fast this SCV goes.
Brum brum.
That doesn't make up for everything?
How do you say, like, how do kids do car noises in America?
Vroom vroom.
Okay, that's pretty adult already.
Look, I haven't been a kid for like 20 years here. Cut me some slack.
I also know that animal sounds are different depending on the nationality.
Oh.
I know, like, for oh my god, for Germans, we do wow wow for the dog.
Oh,
Or
woof, woof, woof.
Yeah, something like that. But in English, it's bark, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, bark and woof. Like if the dog's making noise, we would say the dog is barking.
I don't quite remember in Korean, but one thing I remember in Korean is how the frog goes, and the frog goes gegul, 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 and I'm always losing it.
What? The frog goes ribbit.
The frog goes quack.
Excuse me. You cannot just stand here in the decider match of Sorta versus Clem and tell me new words that you made up on the spot. I won't allow it.
You can't just stand there and say the frog is calling the name of a rabbit.
No, not rabbit, ribbit. Okay, I suppose we better get interesting here, because this is going to be a Hellbat timing for Clem, as he is going to come on in here. Clem wants to end this, and he wants to end it now. He doesn't want to drag this out, but sort of laying in wait, already set and ready to go, and actually sneaks Lings into the main basin, actually shutting down those two Hellions here. All of this is actually getting held off here. Some really good micro is going to extend the life of those Hellbats, but that just shoves this off. Clem has sacrificed so much to try and do this, and he really didn't get any payout off of this.
No, I completely agree, and maybe Clem was looking to get Stim with the tech lab on his barracks, but he saw those roaches, and now he has to go for the Banshee to defend this pressure that is coming his way, and there's a lot of pressure coming his way.
Yeah, that one Liberator's not going to be enough, not when you've got 5 Ravagers on the side of Sortive here. Sortive's got to be feeling really confident. Yeah, he's going to have to, he has to give that up, but he doesn't want to just toss that Liberator away. But here we go. The bunker was in production, but it did get picked off here. All of the workers going to get pulled off of the line. Now the Liberator's going to siege. Finally, that will get picked off. That's going to free up Biles for other things. And Clem, I think, is going to fold here. That one Banshee theoretically will clean everything up, but at what cost, Black One?
At what cost, indeed. The Roaches and the Ravager. Okay, no Ravager anymore, but all the units of sort of are streaming into the main base. Clem is trying to micro his heart out, but now there are Zerglings and Roaches fighting against SCVs. 28 SCVs have already fallen, and is this the final curtain for our Terran player? Is this a Terran patch or not? GG.
GG. Both players investing in a very aggressive playstyle, but it's sort of that comes out on top and will be our second place advancer through Group A in the Alpha Pro Series Ultimate Showdown. So, fantastic set of games today. Wow, I don't know that we could have asked for more exciting games all the way up and down the aisle. Absolutely great stuff. Black One, any thoughts from our games today?
Yeah, please go to Matcherino and check in that code.
Oh, I love it. Matcherino, folks, APS US 7 to add 50 cents to that. We've got more games coming at you over the next couple of days. We will be back here on Africa TV, same time, same place, 1 p.m. Central. I believe it's 8 p.m. Central European. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Excellent.
And if you want to have the Korean time, it's 3 a.m.
It's a little early for the Koreans, but fortunately we've got some more great action coming your way. Of course, I am ill-prepared and accidentally closed my Liquipedia window, but I intend on telling you all of the different players that will be playing with us tomorrow, and that is going to be Future, Namshar, Geralt, and Euthermal. It's going to be another set of EU and NA players fighting for the chance to move on to the playoffs to face off against Silky and Sort of. So that's going to be tomorrow, Group B. You can count on the playoffs and the finals taking place on Thursday. All of this taking place right here on played.africatv.com/alphaxsc2. But I believe now it is time for us to sign off. Black One, can you give us some information? Where can we find you? And where can we consume more of your content?
Well, I did pick up streaming once again after a little StarCraft 2 break. So you can catch me at Black1SC2 on Twitch. And if you want to follow my Twitter, feel free at PhilWindhave. You can catch me there. Now, Rashi, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me at twitter.com/RushySC. You can also find me at Twitch, twitch.com/RushySC. I'm a Master 3 Zerg. I enjoy playing. I enjoy casting. Lots of great stuff. And that is going to do it for us. We look forward to seeing all of you and a couple of friends, too, at our stream tomorrow. Again, same time, same place, 1 p.m. Central. played.africatv.com/alphaxsc2. On behalf of Black One and all of the people here at Alpha X, I want to say so long, farewell. We look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at. Take care.